No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Said I might be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get to glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, people? Welcome to Tottenham Away. It's our Friday preview, back again. Another week, another big weekend coming up. Plenty to talk about, as always. The preview for the weekend and a brief discussion about the week's events just gone by. As always, joined by my partner in crime, Matt. Matt, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Dal. Good. A lot to get through this week, and obviously big game tomorrow. But yeah, good week, and looking forward to a big match tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely big game tomorrow. Now, if you watched our show last week, you'd recognize this young man. He came on the show. He disagreed with what I had to say, so we brought him on. And do you know what? He put up a good fight. So I said to him, Charlie, you can come back on whenever you want. And here he is. Charlie, our half Dutch, half English expert from Holland. How you doing, Charlie?
How you doing, guys?
Good. Really good.
Good. How are you?
Great. Great to be on here again. I'm doing amazing. Great to be on here.
And someone who watches the show who emailed me from the USA, his name's Eugene. Stelios, let me on. I can bring balance to the show. I disagree with some of your points. Of course you can. Always welcome. So, guys, first time debut on the show, Eugene from California. Eugene, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks, guys. As I said backstage, still big fan of the content, big fan of the show. I've been watching for a couple of years. You guys do bring balance, unlike many other channels. So again, glad to be on. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. We've got people in the chat to quickly say hello to. Let's say good afternoon. We've got the three-legged dog who wants us to discuss Timo Werner. I'm sure he'll come up today in discussion. We've got Tony in the building. Big up, Adrian, Siraj, 3SS Sports. How you doing? England forever. I think that's the first time I've seen you. Welcome. We've got Fenland Spurs. Barbarics in the house. Double D's in the house. We've got Elias from Malaysia. Big up to you. MKP0138. What name that is? How you doing? Benjamin Foster in the building as well. Guys, smash a like, subscribe. Welcome to the Friday show. Let's get going. Oh, Igor just there as well at the end, popping in. Good afternoon, Igor. Before we begin today's show, I very, very quickly wanted to talk about one thing before we get into all things Spurs, and that is there was a game midweek where many said Arsenal would trounce Bayern Munich. Arsenal are on fire. Bayern Munich are a mess. But there's one man that turned up.
He's one of our own, Harry Kane.
He came back to North London, back to the Emirates, and reminded everyone who's the Don, who owns the Emirates. I mean, look, guys, watching Harry Kane play, I wanted to cry. Not only the fact he scored against the Arsenal at the Emirates, but some of the balls he was playing, dropping deep, pinging them out wide, the way he linked up the play for Bayern Munich, I feel we're craving for a play like that. Matt, watching Kane play at the Emirates, look, it wasn't an amazing performance by Kane. He didn't go there and score a hat-trick, but I thought Harry Kane had a pretty good game, and I quite like the fact that he punched one of their players as well. That felt kind of good. But that's just me. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I think he just showed you what a number 9 should look like. You know, just he's kind of ring craft, how he bought fouls deep, how he kind of kept onto the referee. He's just football intelligence was, and let's get this right, you know, a very good defence. Saliba and Gabriel, 2 solid centre halves, statistically conceded the least amount of goals in the Premier League this season. And I thought he was very good. No Bayern Munich fans in the stadium. And I just think we've been starved of a number 9 this season. And he just showed in moments where he just attracted people onto him, how he popped it off to Sane or Musiala in midfield. He's just a magician. And that obviously there was no other expectation than the net to balls with the penalty. So yeah, Eric Dier, I just want to mention him. He had his traditional a few hospital passes that he made early on, which put them in trouble, but by and large he did okay. But yeah, really pleased to see Harry Kane perform.
Charlie, what about you? Did you manage to watch the game? If you did, what did you think of Kane?
I didn't watch the game, but I watched the highlights. The penalty was really good. The balls he gave were amazing. But for the rest, I don't have a lot of insight on that. But I thought to see Kane at the Emirates scoring again, it's such a good feeling just to have that Kane, he's one of our own, just from us, to score against Arsenal at the Emirates, not even in Germany. Just such a good feeling. That's I didn't see the game, so I don't have a lot more to say about that.
Yeah, fair play. Eugene, before you tell us what you think of Harry Kane against Bayern Munich, we've got, in typical Elias fashion, thank you for your super chat. Is Eugene from California? Is that in Florida? I mean, Eugene, do you want to answer it? Or?
I'm not even sure how to answer that. No, opposite side of the country. California is California. Florida is Florida.
Yeah, Elias.
I'm not sure if it's a true question or not.
Think of Scotland, England, same union country almost, but 2 separate states. But for us, it's a different country. But yeah, they're different states altogether, bro. Anyway, Eugene, what did you think of Harry Kane?
It's funny. I think you can clearly see a difference between Kane and Haaland. How much better Kane is than Haaland. When Haaland doesn't score, he's useless. Kane, he can control the game, get the balls deep, spray passes, and he's even without the penalty, he was still class. And in my mind, he's still the best striker in the world. He was awesome. Definitely miss him. This team would be on a whole different level with Kane, no doubt.
Do you know? Let me ask you guys a quick question actually on this. I'll ask you first, Eugene. If you look at the league table, I'll bring it up naturally. If you look at the league table, if you look at the goals for, we're already 10 goals off of Arsenal, 6 goals off Man City, and 7 goals off Liverpool. Is Harry Kane the difference?
No doubt. And I feel like not only in the goals for category, but having a number 9 that can control the ball would cut down on the turnovers that we have. And I definitely think he would help in goals against as well. So we would definitely be in the top 3 or top 2 race with Kane. No doubt in my mind.
Good shout. Someone that can possession of the ball means that we have the ball less. Charlie, with Harry Kane, there's a lot of fans that say, "Oh, we're better without Kane. The system works better. We're getting better out of players. If Kane was here, he'd stifle them." Do you believe that, or do you think we're better with Kane?
I think we would be better with Kane, but I think we would be higher if we could concede less goals. So I think it's not really in the attack. I think it's more in defence. We need a good, sturdy CDM to get less goals in. And I think to get goals in our own net, we need to score more on the other net. And we've been doing that in a good pace, but we need to get a bit more. So to get a good number 9, yeah, Kane would do that. But we need a good CDM, like a Paulinho or something, to make sure there's no more sloppy passes that go through the middle and break through that we concede goals. Because we've conceded 45 goals, which is a lot. So I think it's more in the conceding than in the scoring goals. I'd rather get a good CDM this season than a striker than Kane. You know what I mean?
I'll come on to that in a minute. Matt, are we better with Kane or without him?
Easily better. Just his shot conversion. You know, you look at the. I'm not a massive fan of XG, but if you look at just off the top of your head, the chances that we've missed, good chances in games that we've ended up drawing or losing. You look at Aston Villa at home, the chances we had first half, that game we should have been 3-0 up first half in that game. If you look at even the Wolves game at home, the chances we missed in that game. So I think every club can look at near misses and nearlies and might have beens, but I think our leading scorer is Son with, is that 14 Premier League goals this season? 13 or 14? How many Son got?
So you know. Heung-min Son is 14.
14. So you could argue that Kane would be on 18 to 19 by now with the chances that we've created. Don't forget how much football Son's missed with the Asia Cup. So, yeah, I think I'm a bit envious because had we have got Postecoglou 2-3 years earlier and you'd have still got 2 seasons of Harry Kane, it's scary to think what we might have become. So we don't have a number 9, in my opinion. I know Son scored goals and Son can play there, but he's not a number 9. And the longer the games go on, the more, in my opinion, he has moments in games, Son, but he doesn't lead the line. Harry Kane leads the line. He's a number 9. He's the go-to guy. We don't have that. So we kind of play in fractions of the matches. We come to life. So Harry Kane in this Postecoglou team would be, I think Haaland's on 18. I think Kane would be on about that number or more.
Haaland's on 19. Son, though, he's the 4th highest for assists in the league on 9 as well. The best player in terms of assists and goals is Ollie Watkins right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins. But so when I was saying, in fact, I'll bring up a better chart. Where you see the goals fall, we're already 10 behind Arsenal, 6, 7 behind. That I think we can close that gap if you sign wide players that can score in an attacking forward line, which is why I don't want Timo Werner. We will get into Timo. I want everyone to talk about him. But if you look at the goals against, we are 21 goals worse than Arsenal and 15 goals worse than Liverpool and City, or 16 worse than City. So this says to me, sorry, beg your pardon, we're 16 worse than Liverpool, 15. No, what am I talking about? Yeah, 14 to City, 15 to Liverpool. But the gap in terms of goals against is a bigger one to close than the goals for. So that says to me, this is the bigger problem. But here's the thing, guys. When you look at the amount of shots that we are conceding, we're actually one of the best in the league. Arsenal's the best, but we're joint with Man City. So when it comes to actual shots against us, we are matching Liverpool, City, just slightly off Arsenal. But when it comes to what we're actually conceding, we're far worse. So how can it be we concede more than Liverpool and City and Arsenal, but the amount of shots that we're taking is equal? What does that mean? That says to me, the reason that we're not conceding so many goals is because we dominate possession in most games. So the opposition have less percentage opportunity on the ball to get shots against us. So the reason we're not conceding as many shots as Liverpool and City and Arsenal is because we're actually a good possession team. But the reason why teams are scoring more, even though we're giving up as many chances, is because the quality of the chances we do give away, which aren't many, are high quality chances. And if you look at the stats in the most recent game against Forest, look at the clear-cut chances, it's equal. Right? We're giving away just as many big chances as what we're creating. So the issue we've got at Spurs, if we want to get this goals against figure better, is we need to reduce the quality of the chances we give away. And it's not all from set pieces, by the way. Woods hit the post and he missed the sitter as well against us. And he's not even a good striker. How has he been allowed to have such a simple chance in front of goal? And by the way, we're not conceding from like loads and loads of, we're not conceding big chances from lots and lots of counterattacks. This is just normal passages of play. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I think we're conceding big chances because I don't think we're coached to defend properly as much as what we're coached to attack. I think there's a naivety in our coaching when it comes to defending. Eugene, what do you think of what I've just said? When you look at those stats, we aren't giving away lots and lots of shots. We're not. We're matching the best teams in the land. But the quality of what we give away, it's almost like Merry Christmas. Hey, Happy Easter. Take a shot. What do you think? What do you think it comes down to for you when you watch Spurs play?
Right. I agree with what you said, but I think set piece goals that we give away is a big part of it. I don't have the exact number in mind as
10.
far as how many set piece goals. Yeah, I mean,
10.
That's a lot of goals, right? Everton, Wolves, like every other game, we give up set piece goals. So without, let's say, not for 10 goals, if we give up 3-4 goals, right? That's a big difference. And also,
but Eugene,
turnovers,
you say that. So to interrupt you, you say that.
Yep.
But set piece goals account for less than 25% of the goals that we've conceded. The majority of the goals are not coming from set pieces.
That's fair. And I mean, the second part is I feel like Ange gives players freedom, and our midfield isn't great in controlling the ball. So we do have a lot of turnovers or a lot of possessions, as you mentioned, that does not result in shots on goal. If there's no shot on goal, we are exposed in the back when we get countered. So I think if the midfield does a better job with possession, limits turnovers, and we actually get a shot on goal, whether on target or not, I think that will give defense time to get back and not get countered. I think that's a big reason why we give up quality shots on goal and quality chances.
Charlie, Eugene says if our midfield was better with possession, but we are one of the best possession teams in the league. That's why we give away the least amount of shots. It's more than that, in my view.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Or do you think no? It is us giving away possession.
I do actually think it lies in the midfield though, because we don't really have a very good defensive midfielder. There's not really a sturdy. There's never really one hanging back to stop all these players breaking through, to stop all these attacks happening, all these counters happening. So I think the chance that we're creating, that like a Basuma or a Højbjerg is just not cutting it for me. They're not strong enough in defensive midfield. They make these sloppy passes, all this stuff that leads to goals too. I think there's a lot of mistakes being made too. But I think a good, sturdy defensive midfielder could do a lot in our team, especially with how we play, how attacking we play. If we just got that one player in the back that stays a bit like 5 yards back or like 5 meters back, he could do so much more for us and make sure that the game's a bit more stable, that we don't have any more breakthroughs or less balls come our way. Is that a fair point?
It's your view. You're allowed to have whatever view you think. I do think that the CDM role is a problem. I don't feel that Basuma is tactically astute to the role. I don't think he's a number 6, if I'm honest with you. I think he's a mixture of an 8 and a 6. He's somewhere in between. And Højbjerg, for me, I think he is a good CDM, but he can't play out from the back. You saw against Forest in the last 3 minutes, he nearly gave the ball away to their striker. Well, he did give it away to their striker. They fluffed it. So if we had the defensive brain of Højbjerg and the technical ability of Basuma, who can play out from the back as one, I think you've got your player, but we don't have that player. I also think we're naive when it comes to defending. But Matt, how do you explain we've got the highest possession, or one of the highest possession teams in the league? We give away the least amount of shots against our opponents. We are up there with City and Liverpool, but we concede 15 to 20 goals more. Why?
I think it's for a couple of reasons. I think we lost the spine of our defence for a month, 5 weeks, with obviously Van der Ven's hamstring injury, and then obviously the sending off of Romero, and I think then Romero done his groin or hamstring the second game back from his suspension. So we had that period with Emerson Royale and Ben Davies playing at centre half. So I think that upset the spine of the defence. So I would say we were probably a little bit more vulnerable, more susceptible without recognised centre backs in their position. And I think Basuma has had a confidence drain. I don't think he's the player that he was early on in the season, where he was getting the ball with his back to goal and was beating the press, and he was comfortable and confident in taking the ball off goal kicks. And that's how we were overloading in midfield. Basuma's almost hiding a little bit when we're deep. If you look at Romero, a lot of the time, he's taking the touch. Basuma's not showing for the ball. And he's going to Van der Ven. They're taking a touch. The first 10 games, Basuma was demanding that ball off the two centre-backs, which is now why Maddison is doing it a little bit more, and Maddison's coming deeper. So I think it's a combination of Basuma was such an important cog in that deep-lying playmaker position that he was playing. They also empty the midfield quite a lot, which is another asset of Postecoglou's system when we're in confidence and we're in the ascendancy. I think there's a bit of hesitancy now in that midfield makeup. So when we do lose the ball and the ball gets turned over, we're wide open because people are not in their natural position, because Basuma's kind of in his kind of concentration lapses. So that's why they're having to bring Højbjerg on either at the start of the second half or in the 70th minute to just put a bit of an anchor in that midfield, because Basuma's lost his shape. So I think it's a combination of things. A final point is I don't think we're killing teams off. So if we go 2 or we go 3-0 up, some of the opposition's attacking potency would be curtailed because the game's pretty much put to bed. But because we're leaving the door slightly wide open because it's a narrow 1-0 or they're 1-0 up, I think teams are believing that Wolves at Tottenham, Villa at Tottenham, we can win this. So there's a combination of factors why we're conceding more goals than normal for what I've just mentioned.
And Estelle, if I may, I also think one item I forgot to add, some of our players are lacking defensive awareness, right? So that's coaching as well. But for example, Destiny, Porro, Bissouma, I think you showed the image of the goal we gave up in the last game where Bissouma was out of position, Destiny was out of position. I feel like that has to do with coaching, but this also has to do with defensive awareness of individual players. In case of Destiny, he's still young. He'll improve. I'm sure Porro will improve. But I think that that's beyond coaching, right? That's a player needs to know which positions to take.
No, Eugene, I agree with you.
Back.
I 100% agree with you. I had this conversation with Iggy, I think it was on Monday on the show, on the channel, and I was saying to him, like, when we played football, you got to be able to read a game, right? So if you can see there's a danger in a certain area, you can either stare and watch the danger, communicate to someone to, go and protect the danger, or you go into the danger and you try and protect it. Bissouma did neither. He didn't go out wide to support Udogie. He left Van der Ven to go, which split the centre backs. You never want your centre back split, not like that. Bissouma can see where the danger now is. He should have gone, unless he thought Romero was going to go, but he did nothing. And I just feel that either he didn't read the game, or he just didn't put the effort in. But I either way, I agree with you that you don't need a coach to say, "Hey, it's a bit like a throw-in, right? If you've got a throw-in, I need to make myself available to receive the throw. Okay, I've got to either go closer or make a run and call for it. You've got to make some kind of movement so the player throwing the ball on the pitch can throw it to one of his players, right? A coach doesn't need to tell you that. When you're 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, the coach needs to tell you. But when you're a professional football player, and it's the same for reading the danger. And I agree with you. But I mean, do you guys agree with that as well? There's certain things that the coach, the coach after the game can bring up the slides and go through it with the players, which they should do. But there are certain things as well that the coach shouldn't really have to show a player. They should be able to recognise. Do you agree with that, guys?
Yeah, but it's so weird that Bissouma was playing amazing when he didn't have any compete. That he wasn't competing with Bentancur, and now Bentancur's back and he randomly is slacking off. It should be the other way around, because now he's got competition with Bentancur, but now he's playing worse than he was. It's a bit. I don't really get his logic in that. You know what I mean?
But has he got competition? Because fans have been asking for Bissouma to be dropped, yet he starts every game, Charlie. So has he really got competition?
Well, you could say, I think he does, because Bentancur does. You did, like we saw last game, he did get substituted out at the first half, but he doesn't get subbed. Maybe we see Bentancur starts this match, because I feel like if Bissouma does start this match, we'll have a bit of a slow start again. He doesn't start the games as well. I think he had only good 10 minutes, and afterwards he just was playing bad. I feel like he isn't doing it for us. You know what I mean?
Do you know what makes me laugh about Bissouma? This is what makes me laugh. This is why I get hated. Because I say it as it is. When Conte was saying he's tactically naive, he doesn't understand the defensive role of the system, fans all attacked Conte. Conte can't coach. Conte's a dinosaur. He's sucking the life out of players. And in the first 10 games of Ange, you see what a good coach can do. You see when you actually coach the players, how good players can be. What the hell was Conte doing with these players? Look at what Ange is doing with Bissouma. That's how you coach. Now, every channel, every Spurs fan, drop Bissouma. If someone offered us 30 mil, we'd sell him. My response is, hold on a minute. I thought Ange was a brilliant coach. You told me Conte couldn't coach. I thought Ange knows how to coach players. What's happened to all this coaching celebration of Ange with Bissouma? Why can't Ange make Basuma good now then? What's happened here? Or is it maybe Conte is a really good coach and he could see there was an issue with this player for the way he wanted to play? What do you have to say about that, guys? Look, Matt's shaking his head there. Go on, Matt.
Yeah, look, I think the first 10 games, nobody was questioning Basuma. And Basuma's such a unique footballer that when he's full of confidence, his tail's up, he can quickly create overloads on the football pitch. He's shown playing for Brighton that he's a very, very good midfield player. I just think it's a confidence thing. You know, he's had 2 sending off. I think he's had 3 suspensions. He's had malaria. You know, he's had a combination of things going on. So, in my opinion, that's why you have coaches. That's why you have training sessions to iron out those creases. But he's shown enough for me in a Tottenham shirt to persevere with him. Is he an automatic starter? No. But he's shown enough, in my opinion, to still be in the team, as in the team selection on a Saturday or Sunday, and he'll get his games. And then we have to improve in recruitment. Of course we do. But Basuma wouldn't be one of the names that I'd be looking to sell. I think he'd shown enough. Arsenal away, I thought he was for an hour, he was exceptional. Manchester United at home, he was very good. So he's shown that he can perform at a high level.
Matt, that's 2 games. That's 2 games out of 30, Matt.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is,
I could say Lucas Moura was phenomenal in Ajax. He was amazing, you know.
Yeah,
I'm just countering what you're saying.
No, I understand, and we want more and we want better. But is the other side of the fence selling? What's the next thing? So if it's Basuma's not good enough, are we then suggesting to sell him? What's the thought process? I wouldn't agree with that personally.
I go on, Charlie.
I feel like you're completely right, the confidence thing, because when he was at Brighton, he was ruining all the midfields, beating Arsenal, this, that. I feel like once he gets in his groove again, we'll see. But he isn't the best defensive midfielder in the world, so we can't expect the best from him. I feel like we need a way better midfielder to actually have that. But as you say, he can play better than he is now, but he needs the confidence, and that I really do agree with that.
Yeah, he's just started number 6. Sorry, Stel, go ahead.
No, yeah, speak.
Yeah. I was watching Ederson play yesterday against Liverpool. He's a class player. There's a big difference the way Ederson plays and the way Basuma plays. They're just levels. Basuma is a very good player, but he's not a number 6. And it goes back to Stel what you started with. He lacks defensive awareness to protect the back line, to be the number 6. If you look at Rodri, of course, who's the best in the world, but if you look at other good 6s, at Rice and other players, they have a different skill set and a different mentality than Basuma. Basuma would be a good 6. He's a good 6. He's just not the 8 that we need to control the ball, to relieve the pressure and protect that back line. So
I don't think he's a good 6. I don't think he's a good 6.
Yep.
You saw his defensive naivety at Man City away. Where it's 2-2. He's got the ball edge of the box. He's got a clear pass, and he tries to dribble past 2 players and loses possession. And Grealish goes and scores. Like when I saw that, I thought, hold on a minute. And do you know what it is for me? I don't think Spurs have got a number 6 at the club that's good enough, right? I think the only proper out-and-out number 6 is Højbjerg. But he doesn't suit the system we play because he's not a possession-based player. He's more of a destroyer, which is very much the Conte Mourinho model, which works. But in this system, you need a technical footballer that can break up the play as well. So I don't think Pape Sarr's that player. I think we've got a lot of number 8s, a lot. Lo Celso, Bentancur. I think Skip's an 8, if I'm honest with you. He's probably 5th choice, though. I think Basuma's an 8. I think we've got a lot of 8s, no real 6s, and maybe 1 or 2 10s, maybe Lo Celso, Maddison. I just don't think we've got 6s at the club. I think, when I think of a proper number 6, I think of Victor Wanyama. proper number 6, Victor Wanyama, or the kind of hybrid version, Moussa Dembele. I think that's the kind of quality where we were challenging for a title and doing well in Europe. I'd keep Basuma, Matt. I'd keep him as a backup for an 8, not for a 6.
We're getting linked with a lot of 6s, though. That's good. That's good to hear that the club's making a good point of that.
I just think competition for places, you pick yourself, when you go in a dressing room and you look around and there's somebody holding your shirt playing, you've got a decision to make. Do you improve? That's the question. So for me, it's real simple. We need to improve the recruitment in that position and then let them fight it amongst themselves. Van der Ven came in and made that shirt his own. Porro came in, made that shirt his own. So just sign the right players and then they'll pick themselves. And if Basuma makes it, great. If he doesn't, the next player will take up the baton. So I would like to keep Basuma with Bentancur, with another version in there, and let them joust it out to get that position. But I think there's an evolution of Tottenham. I think Postecoglou is learning and he's adapting. And I think he's just tweaking his system to combat the challenges of the Premier League. And I think we'll be a better version of ourselves next season.
By the way, Double D, I am a fan of Skip, but we've ruined him. Same like we did with Winks. Winks came out of the academy as an attacking mid. We tried to shoehorn him into a holding mid. It was a disaster. Skip is an 8. We've shoehorned him into the 6. It hasn't worked. And now that he's not getting any game time, I want him out of the club because you cannot progress as a footballer unless you get game time. I don't care what anyone says. The best training you can have is real life matches. There's nothing beats it. He's not getting that, so we might as well get rid of him. He doesn't even come off the bench now. Now that Bentancur's fit, Bentancur will come on, or Lo Celso will come on. Even Højbjerg comes on ahead of him. So I do still think at the time Skip was a good player, but we've ruined him like we've ruined a lot of our young players. But, everyone can disagree. I don't mind.
There's a lot in the chat about Conor Gallagher that they don't want him.
I'm gonna get onto a few players in a minute. In fact, go on, let's do it now. Let's go to Conor Gallagher. Why not? So there was news today. Journalist Tom Barkley said Spurs are keen to secure a quick deal for long-term target Conor Gallagher this summer. Postecoglou hopes to get his business done early, and Chelsea's profit and sustainability pressures could make it happen. Right, 2 things here, guys. One, he's a big Chelsea fan, and so is his family. So it's a big no-no if he comes to Spurs, but money talks at the end of the day. The other thing is this really a level? Is this really taking us levels up from what we've got? Are we really believing Conor Gallagher is the next step forward for this club? What Charlie, what's your thoughts on it? You brought it up. What do you think of Conor Gallagher?
I think he isn't consistent enough. I think he wouldn't bring us up a lot. He doesn't really feel like if we get him, we'd start playing much better, maybe a little bit, because he's better than Basuma. But not that I don't like Basuma, I don't have an agenda against him, but I think he is a bit better than Basuma. And he's not the same player. What am I talking about? Just scrap that. Listen, I think with Conor Gallagher, we could play a little bit better, not too much better. He wouldn't bring so much to the team for 40 million. I feel like we don't need a player like him. We need more of a defensive midfielder, and not really a player like him. I don't really feel like he's not the number one target for me.
Eugene, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he starts on a top 6 team. He's a pretty good player. He would be a good squad player. So if we can have him for 20 million, sure. But for 45, 50, 60, that money would be better spent on a proper number 6 or a winger. I don't have anything against Gallagher except that he's a Chelsea fan. And like I said, as a squad player, as a number 8, he'd be good, but not for 45 million as a starter. That's a no-go for me.
Yeah, Matt, it's a lot of money, isn't it? Obviously, you got the English tax, but are we really looking at Conor Gallagher and saying this guy is better than what we? I mean, number one, what position will he play? And two, whose position are we thinking he's going to take exactly?
Look, it makes little sense to me, apart from that it's the English quota, and he's an energetic, high-pressing, physical midfielder. So those are the ticks. But the costs, our budget, the Chelsea-Tottenham rivalry, does he improve Tottenham? I'm not sure. He's a good player, but he's not levels above what we've got at the moment. And I think if you're going to spend north of 40 million, we need levels in improvement. And I don't see it. Look, I think he's a very combative, and I could grow to like him because he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's got that Gary Mabbott never say die attitude. I like that. But whatever budget we've got in the summer, I don't want a percentage of that to be taken up with the Conor Gallagher deal. It makes no sense. We've got far more rooms in the house to furnish than that one.
There's a few comments here. Sign Conor or sign Werner. FU Gallagher. We'd rather get Paulinho. We need to bring better than what we have. Gallagher is a pointless signing. If Conor wants stability in his career, go back to Palace. It's not a bad shot, that. No to Gallagher. I think Conor Gallagher is a sideward step for me. I think signing Conor Gallagher isn't going to go down well with the fan base. I don't think it's a Sam. It doesn't smell ambition. It doesn't say this is why we built the stadium. This is why we've got top four so that we can bring in players like Conor Gallagher. This is why Ange says we're going to win the league, because we can get Conor Gallagher. I think all the things that are being said that's exciting fans, signing Conor Gallagher just diffuses that kind of maybe feelings and emotions of the direction the club's going. Do you think that's a fair thing to say, guys?
I think it is.
Definitely.
But Onana's only like 5 million. Onana from Everton, he's only like 5 million extra. Like, let's pay 50 million, and we've got Onana from Everton, who's a great defensive midfielder who will keep our play way better. So I'd rather pay 5 million extra for a way better player. You know what I mean?
Charlie, can I be honest with you? I don't want Onana.
No?
Nah.
Why not?
I've seen him give away possession too much. I watch him play. I think we need Zubimendi. That's the kind of player I'm looking at. Mane Kone at Mönchengladbach. That's the kind of player I'd like. Someone that's technical on the ball, good in possession, can receive the ball on a half turn, drop his shoulder, beat a man. Someone that can spray the passes, someone that can defend. I think that's the kind of level we need.
Have you seen that new Ferguson from Iceland? That guy, the 18-year-old. He seems to be amazing. He's a CDM.
But isn't that a bit young, aren't we? Isn't that one for the future again? Okay, don't we need a proven, as Adrian says when he comes on the show, we need a player that's oven ready.
That is true. We do. But Paulinho, but he's not that good on the ball. So I don't know what. Like, he is good on the ball, but not as technical that we need at Tottenham. So what would you say then? Not a Paulinho, or would you just go for a Paulinho?
I'd take him only because he's that good in the role that maybe it offsets any technical deficiencies. But again, if I don't want Onana, how can I say I want Paulinho when he's technically lacking as well? I just think we need a ball player. Like what scares me is when I saw Højbjerg receive the ball in the penalty box and make that ridiculous ball across. It's things like that. We cannot afford to have players like that on the ball, especially the way we try and play out from the back. I go to the games, and as soon as we try and play out from the back, half the stadium's like, no, get rid of it. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, play it out from the back. This is what we're being coached to do. Do what you're coached, not what fans want, because fans are in a panic because once in a while it goes wrong. You'll never get consistency in doing it unless you keep trying. And I don't think Højbjerg is the player to do it. Basuma
is the guy. Ederson has the pace. He has the technical ability, and he's not going to be as expensive as others. So I love Ederson. I think he did perfect.
I'm not against it. Matt, have you got a favourite that you'd like in that CDM role to come in?
I think there's always an element of risk for 99% of signings. The positive and the negative. I think Declan Rice was a no risk signing. There's certain players, Harry Kane, you just know is going to be a success. I think Paulinho's 29 in June, so the money that Fulham are going to ask is Daniel Levy going to pay. He's going to be 50 million potentially. Is Daniel Levy going to pay 50 million on a 29-year-old? So there's the negative. Is he as good in ball progression as Basuma? I'm not so sure. He's very combative. He knows the role. He plays the role very well. I'm just not sure the money, the age is a fit for Spurs. Kone ticks all the boxes, but he's unproven in the Premier League. Question mark. Ederson, great player, gifted, combative. Reminds me a little bit of Paul Ince. If any of you guys remember Paul Ince, reminds me a little bit of Paul Ince. Very good midfield dynamo, which is what we need. The question mark is how long will he take to adapt to the Premier League? Obviously, the Italian league's a little bit slower, but he's got all the hallmarks to be a success in that position. We've got a good relationship with Atlanta. Obviously, we've done the deal with Romero, Juventus. So if I was a betting man, it wouldn't surprise me if Ederson is the one who will end up at Spurs.
I would love Ederson at Spurs. The way you lot are speaking about him. To be honest, watching Liverpool Atalanta yesterday, you know what? That Gasperini is a good manager, you know. Gasperini is a good manager. Tactically, up here, he's a good manager. I like him. I like the way as well he gets to front three playing. Do you know, I actually think if he was a bit younger, I think he would have been a better fit for Spurs, but probably his age works slightly against him in terms of what we were looking for, I guess. But another player that's being talked about, Troy Parrott. Apparently, a lot of teams in Germany are interested in signing him. It's believed that Tottenham Hotspur are willing to let him go if they receive an appropriate offer. This chap on social media said, selling Parrott to a German side in the summer is a big mistake. The guy has grown in Holland, and I think we should keep him. 21 games, 7 goals, 2 assists. Are these the kind of stats that you want from a striker, guys? 1 in 3. I mean, is that enough for us to keep him, or is he better than what we've got?
Especially in Holland. After Vincent Janssen, I'm scarred. Any striker in Holland now, I'm looking at them differently. And if you can only score 7 goals in Holland in 21 games, I'm sorry, but
are you
upset? But
we've given him time for so many years. You know what I mean? Every year we give him time, give him on loan. Now he's got in the Eredivisie with the bang average side. With Eredivisie is a league that they've got so many teams that are basically Sunday league level. He should be scoring way more against him if he is a good player. And seeing 7 goals and 2 assists, which is mediocre. That's like what Richarlison, not even Richarlison did that last year. It's worse than, I mean, is it good? It's not good enough for the Premier League. That could be 2. That would be 2 goals in the Premier League and maybe 1 assist. It won't make it. He won't make it. He should go to Germany. Germany is a way better fit for him, and I think the Premier League is not the best fit for him.
Yeah. Are you guys saying that Steven Bergwijn wasn't a success when he came to us from Holland? Is that what you're saying?
Who's it?
Steven Bergwijn. He came from Holland, wasn't he? By the way, I think Steven Bergwijn's better than Timo Werner. I'm just saying. He
was really good, but Conte didn't play him enough. Oh, sorry, no, Mourinho didn't play him enough.
I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him in this Postecoglou's team. Love to see him.
It would have been interesting. Yeah. I don't know how well he's doing at the moment. Where is he? Ajax. Ajax are having a horrible time. They've got problems though. The club's in a mess. The CEO has been suspended. It's a shambles over there. Okay, so we all agree Troy Parrott is a no. Pape Sarr apparently can't be registered as a homegrown player because he's not an EU national and the rules are slightly different, and he does not fall into the homegrown category. Tottenham completed all the registrations, but it looks like it's going to be declined. We're pretty good at getting these legal matters incorrect. We were forced to give Doherty away for free because we we didn't know the rules, and now it looks like a player we've signed who we thought might be eligible for homegrown status is not. So he's going to be classed as a foreign player. Does that put a bit more pressure on us to have more homegrown players in the team, guys? Do you think? Or
I think we're doing good with homegrown players. I think we've got enough now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you look at the players, if we were to write a list of players that are surplus, I think you'll find that we will have more than enough players to not be affected by Sarr. You know, you look Ndombele and Reguilon, and there's plenty that will be out the door in the summer. So I personally don't think that makes any difference.
Does that mean that we are keeping Skip?
Well, I think that's why they would like to buy Conor Gallagher, Tottenham, because he's homegrown.
But so, right. So this is my argument then, right? If you need homegrown players, rather than spending big money on homegrown players, you've got an under-21 squad that's doing quite well. Can't you just bring one or two of them through? Can't you put one or two of them in the squad at least? Surely we don't know how good they are until they're given a chance. I've always said this. You don't know if a player can make the leap from youth to adult football unless you give them proper minutes. I mean, come on, Dane Scarlett. He's better than Parrott and some of the players that we're being linked with. Surely he can be given at least a chance. Don't you think? Otherwise, why have we got an academy? What's the point? There's more homegrown talent for free in the club already. We have this reluctance to use it. What do you make of it, guys?
I agree. That I really hope that's the plan for next year, to put some youngsters in the squad on the bench.
Especially to see them.
Sorry, go on, Charlie. No, go for it.
Yeah. Especially if you see Santiago, Donnelly, all these players who are just smashing it in the U21. I don't get why we just don't put them in. Like Santiago hasn't seen a minute in the professionals. Donnelly's seen 2 or so, or like 10 minutes max. But they've been smashing it so good in the under-21s that they're just basically too good now for the under-21s. So why just not promote them now? I think it's time for them now. And to let them wait, they're not going to improve more with these playing in the under-21s. They just need to, if they get promoted, they can improve so much better than where they're playing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, you know, the textbook answer is the management team will probably say they're not ready. But I thought when we had that Romero and Van der Ven injury, I thought it was prime for Ashley Phillips to get some minutes. I didn't quite understand why we persisted with Ben Davies and Emerson Royale. You know, if he's a bad right back, why is he going to be a good centre back? You know, I didn't understand that persistence. So I do like Scarlett. I think the snippets I've seen of him, he's got potential, and I'm just worried. He's just turned 20. I'm getting worried that he might end up falling by the wayside. He's beginning to be a worry for me.
Who was that?
He's already 22.
Dane Scarlett. Yeah.
I was talking about Troy Parrott. I was thinking about Troy Parrott. Sorry.
Listen,
yeah, Dane Scarlett.
No, go on. Sorry, Dane Scarlett.
No, I was just saying. He's because everything I've seen of him, I've watched under 19s with England. I've watched him. He looks like he's got that something special. But for whatever reason, even on loan, Ipswich, it doesn't. No manager seems to pick him, and I'm curious why.
I'm not sure about Scarlett. He's not pacey. He's not too big. He's not overly technical. So I'm not sure which attributes you guys see that would make him a good striker in the league. I'm not sure about him, but I'm not a coach.
Now listen, Eugene, you put up a good argument, right? But for me, it's you don't know until they're given a proper chance, and I don't feel they're getting a proper chance at Spurs. I've been saying this for ages. We don't bring through any players. They're not given a chance. There's moments this season where we could have done it, like when we were 4-0 up against Newcastle. There's about 25 minutes left. Bring on 2 or 3 players. We're not going to lose the game. Newcastle were on their knees, and we didn't do it. I'm worried they're not going to bring through any of the youngsters under Ange because they're going for the league title. They're not going to risk bringing through youngsters if they think they're going to go for the league. Personally, I think this whole thing about winning a league title next year is nuts, but we'll get on to it. I mean, it's not impossible. It's not impossible, but I would rather we bring through young players than spend 45 million on or 40 million on Conor Gallagher just because he's homegrown. If you're spending 40 million on Conor Gallagher because he's going to raise the levels of our club and make that midfield better, okay, sign him. But if you're signing him because he's homegrown, I just think it's madness. It's more delusion from the club. You're not doing it because he's quality. You're doing it for quotas and stats and tick boxing, and I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. Mark Cook, there's a link if you go on the homepage of YouTube, there's a link where you click on it and you can become a member. There's a player that you all know, Ndombele. He's been offered to Galatasaray for 5 million after they decided not to activate their £15 million option to buy. Galatasaray yet to respond. They're expected to reject. We can't even sell him for 5 million. By the way, 5 million euros, that's £4 million. Is this not an absolute disaster of a signing? And do you know what? This is what annoys me. Because of him, our fans now, you've got a section of the fan base that are saying, don't spend big money. It doesn't work. And you're like, no, it does work. But you've got to sign proven talent. Sanchez, Richarlison were never proven. Richarlison had proven nothing other than scoring 10, 12 goals in a season. Davinson Sanchez was a kid from Ajax. Ndombele had a couple of good months in France. Like, none of them were proven. We spend big on unproven talent. That's the problem. But, I mean, what do we do with Ndombele, guys? He's on a lot of money, this guy. And we spent 60 million on him, and clubs won't pay 5 million to take him off our... What do we do?
You just got to, act like a big club, Tottenham aren't the first or won't be the last club to make a big money signing and it flop. But if you look at the other big clubs, they deal with it, Look at Arsenal. Some of their big signings. We're not the only club. Man United. I watched Jadon Sancho play for Borussia Dortmund yesterday. What was he? 75 million? The other clubs make big money signings and it doesn't work, but it's the stick that we get hit with to say, you see, that's why we don't. That's why Levy doesn't go big. And it's like, no, you make a mistake, you go again. You come to a 1 or 2 year period, the recruitment team, the scouts, the manager, you sit down and say, this hasn't worked out. And you do your utmost in the next transfer window to get him out the door. But we sit on them. And then whatever asset they are, it depreciates down to less than zero. So we need to just be a little bit more decisive in what we do, because we just sit on players and, we'll end up having to write up his contract, I'm sure. And this summer, we're going to have to shake his hand and give him a golden handshake and out the door. He's got 1 year left at the end in June, isn't he? So we're going to have to buy him out of his contract.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Peter, you're wrong. I suggest you stop going on other channels and listening to what they say, and the guests that claim they're in the loop feed you. I've spoken to Simon Davies, our academy director. I know exactly what the club's trying to do. I'm fortunate enough that I get to go to Hotspur Way through my work. There is no plan to bring through the kids for at least 3 to 4 years because the club is hell-bent on trying to go for the league title. They are not going to bring through young kids in what they think is going to be a title charge. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, you can say Ange is going to play the kids if he thinks they're good enough. No, he's not. There's different ideas. What Simon Davies has done at the club in the last year and a half, we're not going to see the fruits of it for much further down the line. But unfortunately, we've got a lot of people that talk about the academy without knowing a damn thing about youth football, a damn thing about coaching the bridge between youth to adult, or knowing a damn thing about what's actually going on in the academy. I'm lucky. I do. There's one thing I know. It's that. You're not going to see these kids come through. The only one that might break through are the ones that we've signed at a slightly older age. So that Bergvall, he might break through next season, but that's not because he's an academy player. It's because we've signed him. We bought him from another club. He's the only one, maybe, and this is a long shot, maybe Veliz, if he can prove himself, which at the moment he's not. The reports inside Spurs are Veliz it's all gone wrong. So they're not they took a punt on him and so far it's not worked. But if he can turn it around, maybe. But really, these kids aren't coming through. I promise you. And you'll see. So Ndombele we're going to get rid of. We need to act like a big club. I do want to talk about something that I think now might affect our campaign and it could affect the league title. Our last game of the season, guys, is now Manchester City at home. They've changed the fixture because Man City are in lots of competitions, and because of their progression, our last game of the season was going to be Burnley at home, and then our last home game of the season was going to be Burnley at home, and then the following weekend
Sheffield United.
Sheffield United away. But now, in between that, we've got a midweek game at night against Man City. Do you know what? I put a poll out, actually. I put a poll out saying, if we beat Man City, would you take that if it guarantees us Champions League football, but it gives Arsenal the league? Or would you rather we lose to Man City, end up in Europa, but that helps Man City win the league and stop Arsenal from winning the league? What would you take? On Twitter, the majority said lose to Man City. Like, just lose. Do not let Arsenal win the league. I don't care. On YouTube, where we got a lot more votes, majority said, no, Spurs win. Spurs win. We don't care about the others. If Arsenal win the league, they win it. We want Champions League. Very quickly, let's go around the table. What would you want? I'll go first. I would happily lose to Man City if it guarantees Arsenal not winning the league, right? I don't care if we're in the Europa or the Champions League. It doesn't bother me, right? Eugene, Man City, penultimate game of the season. What do you want to happen in that game?
That's a tough one. I would love Champions League for selfish reasons so that I can watch Spurs against top teams and not see them in Uzbekistan somewhere. But I think I agree with your style. I don't want to see Arsenal win the league. So I vote for losing and be in Europa.
I think Charlie's going to think differently here.
I'm actually saying losing, but I've got a very good explanation for that. I think we could actually win the Europa League, and I think there's no chance of us winning the Champions League. So us getting Europa League is not a very bad thing for us.
Preach, brother, preach.
Yeah.
So getting Europa League, we could win it. We could get to the finals. I would way rather have that. You know, if we get Champions League, it's a good. But it sounds very weird. I'd rather have Europa League, which nobody really wants, because I think we could actually get a trophy in the cabinet for once. And Champions League is a bit far-fetched because we're going to play, because the next Champions League we're going to play against way better teams. We can't drop off to the Europa League. So let's say we do very badly, we're basically already ruined, and then we don't get a lot of money, because Levy wants money. We get money by winning the Europa League, and we get money by getting to the round of 16s. But I don't think we get further in the round of 16s. So I'd rather then do it in a good way and win something. And
you know what? If you win the Europa, you automatically qualify for Champions League. So, but again, Matt, Matt, what's your thinking? And also, if you do go down the Europa route, are we going to take it seriously? Because we've got this amazing habit of not taking Europe serious unless it's Champions League. What's your thinking?
I agree with everybody on the panel. I just couldn't. Both my sisters, my nephew, my family are Arsenal fans, apart from me and my brother, who are Tottenham.
Ooh.
I know, yeah. You imagine growing up. You imagine I'm the youngest, so I've got two older sisters who are Arsenal. So yeah, I couldn't bear it.
So they're the black sheep of the family.
Honestly, I could not bear it. And my nephew's the most annoying Arsenal fan you've ever met in your life. So yeah, I couldn't bear it. Could not bear Arsenal to win the league. And I also agree with Charlie that I think we've got a better chance with Europa League, and specifically the rules have changed now. So whereas before the teams from the Champions League fall into the Europa League, that's not happening next season. So that's whoever's in the Europa League is in the Europa League. So if we have a balanced squad, if Ange takes it seriously next season, I think we can have a serious assault on it.
So Matt's going champion. So what you're saying for us to beat City?
No, I'm saying for us not to beat City if it means Arsenal to stop Arsenal winning the league.
All right. Double D. Still, you have to be consistent. You want Spurs to progress and win. That's not done by losing City. What mentality you're promoting? If we get Europa, it's progression. If we are back in Europe, it's progression. But because I know we're going to win nothing, I don't want Arsenal to win anything. I live in North London. I'm surrounded by them. It's going to be horrendous where I live for 3 months. Right? My daily living is more important than any progression for Spurs. I couldn't care about Spurs progressing when you come and see where I live in North London, all right? So I hope that answers your question.
And still, I wonder in your scenario what the atmosphere would be like in the ground on that day, whether the fans would be rooting for City or for Spurs. That would be interesting.
Like everything, Eugene, it'll be divided.
Yeah.
Half the stadium will be wanting Champions League. The other half will want Europa Cup and no. Look, I think if you put a realistic perspective on it, the only winners from Champions League is Levy and Enoch because they get money. And that's what they're about. They want the money, in my view. We're not going to win the Champions League. It's absolutely insane to think we're going to win it. So why be in it? For the extra money? Well, we spent £220 million under Ange Postecoglou with no Europe. We've got the money. It's an illusion. It's a myth. It's seeds that they plant in people's heads. We spent 200 million under Conte. We spent 108 million under Mourinho when we only had Europa. We don't need Champions League to have the money to spend. We've got the money. We just need to be better at spending it. I agree with Charlie. If we go in the Europa Cup, it's a competition that we can actually have a much better chance of winning. And why be in a competition if you can't win it? What's the point? Like, you're just there to make up the numbers. You're there just for entertainment purposes. I don't want to see us go and play Real Madrid and lose 4-0. I mean, what? I'd rather be in a competition we can win. But look, I get why fans want to be in the Champions League. It makes them feel like we're a bigger club. They want to see us play Barcelona. They want to go to trips abroad, to the Ajax Arena, to the Bernabeu, to Saint-Germain, to the San Siro. I get it. But again, it comes down to what you are as a fan. Do you want trophies or do you want entertainment? Or do you want both? If you want both, it's going to take time. For now, I want trophies. I just want us to win silverware. Yeah, Charlie, go for it.
To be honest, the Europa League is looking very good now. The teams in it aren't as bad as usual. That it's very competitive, actually. If you look at the Europa League round of 16, you've got Liverpool playing Atlanta. You've got these mediocre teams, but they're still good teams. It's not like we're only playing against people that we just beat 8-0. It will still be hard games. And so I think Europa League isn't bad. That Conference League, that is something we don't want to get because that's just going to be playing against Mickey Mouse teams. Getting Europa League, we're still playing against not the top of the top, but a bit under it, and some of the top of the top because they couldn't make Champions League the season before. You know what I mean?
The best thing they've done with the Europa League this season is they've stopped teams that finished third in the Champions League group stage dropping into the Europa. So they've actually made it spicier. By doing that, they're giving a bit more credibility to the teams that have qualified for it, saying, no, this is your competition. This is for you. they're not giving the big clubs a second bite of the cherry in case they screw up in the competition they're already in. And I think that's kind of the reason it's got a bit better as well. And it's given everyone a realistic chance. So maybe clubs are giving it more of a go because they're thinking, do you know what? We're not going to land one of the teams at the Champions League. Do you think there's a bit of sense in what I've just said there? Do you think it's made it better?
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Look, as long as we don't have to have a midfield of Oliver Skip and Papa Sarr, no offense to Papa Sarr, playing AC Milan next season, or can you imagine this season if we had Champions League football and we had Ben Davies and Emerson Royal as the two centre halves? Can you imagine that playing Real Madrid? You know, it would have been an absolute car crash. So, no, we finish where we finish. But if that question is put to me, Stal, anything to stop Arsenal winning the league. Anything.
Yeah, 100%. How can we possibly live that down? How can we possibly live it? And then winning the league when we're the richest club in London, we've got the biggest stadium, we've got more money. You know, how? You know, they will absolutely destroy us. Their fan base will tear us to pieces. We will have nowhere to hide, man. And we're just going to be sitting here. Oh, well, we're going to win it next year, though. Just you wait. Look, I want to get on to some questions. Each week we put in the community section on YouTube a opportunity for everyone to ask us even some questions. I've got them all here. Let me refresh the page actually quickly. Make sure I've got all the latest questions up. And we will go through them one by one and see what the panel say. So the first question is from Darren Kilbane. Why are the fans not getting after Levy with not enough spending on transfers when he gives himself a massive bonus each year? So, well, to be fair, we do spend the money. I think that's more about his bonus. Do you think his bonus is justified, guys? Do you think it's his business? He can do what he wants. But do you think him giving himself an extra £3 million for your bonus, do you think that's okay?
I think it doesn't make a real difference. Like Levy, if you think about it, banking people get so much more of a bonus. I think he runs it as a business, so himself getting £3 million as a bonus doesn't change a lot. He's upping the spending these days. I think this transfer window he'll spend enough money, but a £3 million bonus, I think if it just doesn't get to like 20 million, I think if he keeps it under 5 million, it's all right. I think it won't change a lot.
Guys, do you think it's okay when you consider that he's told us that because of inflation, the rising costs, he's put the season ticket prices up, which generates exactly the amount of money
there's your problem.
His bonus is going to.
For me, it's the timing. It's the timing of obviously the senior citizens, the impact on some of the loyal fans, which is affecting them in their pocket. And the fact that he's still taking his bonus, it's the timing for sure. Timing. He could have taken that a year down the road. He could have taken that bonus at any time. I just think it's the timing where he's made that major own goal with the senior citizens. And by the way, I'm taking my bonus. That's the own goal.
Eugene, what's your thoughts on it? If you have any thoughts on this,
I agree with Matt. It's tone deaf. I can understand why he would take the bonus because his bonus is probably tied to the revenue and not the success of the club. So it makes sense from that perspective. But it's just bad PR. It's tone deaf. And yeah, I'm not sure why he would do that in such a fashion.
For sure.
He does what he wants. Daniel Levy. He does what he wants. I've got another question here from Anthony Mitten. 3 players we could realistically sign in the next transfer window, regardless of the cost, that would improve the starting 11. Who would you guys like to see? Right, Eugene, 3 players that you'd like to see Spurs sign in the summer.
I mean, regardless of the cost, I don't think that exercise.
I think we've got to be realistic with who's going to come. So we can't say Messi because that's okay. All right, cool.
I mean, honestly, I think you guys have talked about it for a long time, right? Eze would be great on the wing. Ederson for a 6. And I honestly think we need a backup left back. Or so. Not sure who that would be. What's the guy's name on Fulham? The American guy.
Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson. He'd be great as a squad option. But yeah, number 6 and the winger and the backup left back for me.
Okay. Charlie, 3 players?
This is a hard one, especially because we've got the price. We can do any price, but it has to be realistic. Eze, 100%. I've been talking about him the whole time. I think he'd be perfect for our team. I'd say a CDM. I don't know a central defensive midfield. I don't know what kind of one yet because there's so many on the market, but there's not one that really does fit our team with the technical abilities on the ball. So like an Edison could be good, but we don't know if he will turn out to be as good as we think. So he's not really proven yet. But I think, and a defender, like a centre-back or something, like a Tap Sober. And we need a left-sided centre-back, but the left-sided centre-backs on the market right now are very scarce and very expensive. Like a Bastoni is like 80 million. I feel like Ange's going to go for a right-sided centre-back. So if we get a right-sided centre-back, get like a Tadibo or a Tap Sober, that would be good.
All right, Charlie, you're in charge of recruitment for Spurs. Daniel Levy has headhunted you and given you the job, right? And you've got to sign 3 players. Who are you bringing in?
Eze, Tap Sober, and I know it's a bit of a weird shout. I think I'd go for Paulinho. He's not. I would go for Paulinho 100%.
I think we can get Eze 100%. Definitely, we can get Paulinho. I don't think Tap Sober is going to leave by Leverkusen. They're on the brink of winning the treble, unbeaten. So, if you had to go for another player instead of Tap Sober, who would you go for?
Braithwaite from Everton.
Not bad shout. Not bad shout. Matt, who's your 3?
I'd go for Santi Jimenez as a number 9 and get a proper number 9, move Son back to the left. I'd go for Edison in midfield and let him joust it out with the rest for that position. And I'd go for Nico Williams.
Nico Williams, nice. Okay, I'd go for Mane Kone. He'd be my 6'8". From Borussia Mönchengladbach, I'd get Kvaratskhelia from Napoli. And I'm torn between... I do like Santiago Jimenez, but Jared Bowen is proven, man. I'd go for Bowen. I'd probably get Jared Bowen. That'd be my 3.
Can I just ask you there, sorry, Charlie, there ain't no way on earth are West Ham doing a deal with Tottenham.
Money talks, no? All right.
The last West Ham. What's the last player we signed from West Ham?
All right. If we don't get then I'd get Eze. I'd get Eze instead. I want at least one of my signings has to have Premier League pedigree. At least one. Otherwise, everything's too risky, I think. So, yeah, I can concede that. We've got another question here from Siraj. Ange made a bold statement at the press conference last week that we are expected to be in the title race next season. Do you think he said that because there will be some statement signings already being planned in the summer, or is he now putting the pressure on the owners to back him in the summer? That's a great question. Are the signings lined up for a realistic title charge, or is Ange subtly putting pressure on the board? Matt, you go first this time.
I think he's very conscious. He's a very cool, slick operator, Ange, and I think he knows what he's saying and when he says it. So I think he's conscious of the fans on every word he says. So I think this is for the fan base, that message. And I've said to you on many shows, Stal, I think this recruitment has been in place before Christmas. I think the list, I think the conversations, player, the club, the agent, they've been happening in October, November, December, January. Like Van der Ven. If you listen to Van der Ven's interview, he was talking to Spurs way before the season finished. So I maintain I'm optimistic. The targets have been agreed. The players have been spoken to. We might not get all of them, but I'm quietly confident that we will be a dangerous team next season.
Charlie, do you agree with what Matt said, or do you think Ange's trying to put some pressure on this board?
To a degree, I think he's already got out his plans, and I think he is putting pressure on the board about signing players, but not as much because, as he said in his press conference, about he doesn't want to buy one-star signing. So that means, but that's his plan actually. So I'm not too sure about the board stuff. I think he is putting a bit of pressure on it, but not a lot. But I think his signings are already planned out, and I think he already knows who he wants. And if that doesn't work, he has got a list. So the list is already there. I don't know what he's doing with the board. I'm not in that much in depth about that.
Eugene?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we are that far off from challenging, not winning, but challenging, as people think. I think we're 3 good signings away from being in the mix.
Eugene, I don't want to interrupt you, right? I hear this often.
But
I just want to put something forward. We are playing 1 game a week.
Agreed.
Next season, Europe, let's say we do a bit better in the Carabao Cup. Surely we can't go out in round 1 of the Carabao Cup again, right? Maybe we get a bit further in the FA Cup. From playing 41 games in a season, we could easily end up playing 55, 60. If we sign 3 players, doesn't that just allow us maybe to even maintain what we've done this year? Like, I'm just putting it out there because this is something a lot of fans say, and I keep reminding fans, 1 game a week. Example, look at Newcastle and Brighton this year. What's happened to them with the amount of games they're having to play now?
So let me rephrase. What I meant is top 3 players for the starting unit, right? Obviously, we need more players in the squad. But I feel like if we upgrade 3 positions in the starting 11, we'll be up there with Liverpool's and Arsenal's, right? Obviously, we need maybe 4 more players in the squad, right? The backup, left back, backup right back. Emerson isn't good enough. Another center back. So either we need to dip into the youth team or get the players, right? One way or another. But I feel like, as I said, if we buy 3 top players for the starting 11, we can challenge.
Okay. I think we are 8 to 9 players short of a proper challenge, personally speaking. I think we need 1, 2, 3. I'd say 4 players just for the starting team, and then another 4 for the bench. And that's good players, not Timo Werner's and Conor Gallagher's and this kind of backup conversation. I don't want backup. I want competition. I'm quite harsh though, but then I've seen it play out before. That's why I'm like this way. But to answer the question, I'm going to wait till the summer until I answer it. I can't answer it now. It's impossible for me. I need to see the summer. Like Matt will tell you every week. I'm like, no, I don't buy into the project. I need to see what happens this summer because I can't stand the Veliz, Hill, Solomon, Johnson, Kulu, Ritchie, Werner. None of them for me cut it. None of them. And I know a lot of fans actually know Johnson's coming good. Timo Werner's good backup. Kulu needs to play in the 10. I hear all these reasons. For me, I don't see it. But I'm just one fan with one opinion. I'm the minority. Carl Patrick Vineyard, KPV, big up. Thank you for your membership. 19 months. Legend you are. I know you enjoyed WrestleMania as well. Big wrestling fan is KPV. The next question came from Jashraf. Your thoughts on Eric Dier's recent comments on getting drilled to the nth degree under Conte versus no tactics under Ange. Can I ask you a question, right? Do you believe what players say when they leave? Like, because sometimes I feel it's just for reaction. Would Dier be saying this if Ange fancied him? Is he only saying this because he's left? Because what I find interesting is Eric Dier's left the club and he's done nothing but praise Levy and have a go at fans indirectly for being Levy out. But then he's kind of slamming Ange now, but yet Levy's the one who's brought in Ange. So what do you make of Dier's comments? Because under Conte, Dier played a lot. So I'm just wondering, is he saying this because just Ange got rid of him? Or is he actually saying it because there's not enough tactics being coached under Ange?
I think he kind of contradicts himself because there has to be coaching, there has to be tactics because we have changed 180 degrees. You know, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder would surely be able to see how much we have changed in our style of football. So for him to say we haven't, there's no coaching, it's kind of belying the fact because look how quickly his style, his pattern of play has changed Tottenham's football. So Eric Dier for me was a good servant. We paid £4 million for him. I think he was a defensive midfield player. He's never a centre half. He could play for Bayern Munich for 5 years. He's not a centre half. So it's a touch of sour grapes for me. So yeah, just a touch of sour grapes.
If we listen to Dier, then it means that coaching is irrelevant. He was crap under Conte with coaching. He was crap under Ange without coaching. So from that perspective, it doesn't matter. Coaching is overrated.
Oh my God. Charlie, I know Eric Dier is one of your favourite players. What do you think about him?
Favorite players, mate. Goodness me, he was the legend. He's on my wall everywhere. No, I was not too fond of him, man. I thought having Dier at the back was always a bit of a goodness me. How on earth are we going to do this? Are we actually is it stable? But I think we don't see Vali saying this. We never saw Gil saying this. I feel like he just wants a bit of reaction. He wants to go to Bayern permanently. I think he just wants to put a bit of stick on everybody. I think he's just overreacting a bit now. I think he loved Conte, he was his pet. But now Ange doesn't seem to like him because he is crap. And then now because he is crap and he's finally been told that he's crap, now he's a bit negative. I feel that's the reason. That's why I think he's being so negative.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't even believe that we talk about Eric Dier anymore. It's unbelievable. Anton Pollard says, "Why is the fan base divided? Is there an evolution of the fan base that would rather participate in a competition than actually win it? Our senior fans have seen some relative success and real quality players playing good football. This seems to be pushed to one side for more blind believers of this board." Do you think the fan base is divided, guys? Do you think there's any divisions at the moment, or do you think everyone's all singing from the same hymn sheet?
So divided. We've got one half Ange out, one half Ange in, one half Levy out, one half.
Are they?
Levy
Charlie, hold on a minute.
Not half, but I'm talking. Sorry.
I don't think there's a. I don't. No, it's okay. I don't think there's many Ange out. I don't think there's. In fact, I think there's hardly any. You got a couple that come on our show, like Dietrich, who's just hellbent on it. Scott M. There's a few, but I think in general, most fans are like, no, we're loving Ange. We're behind it, 100%. Loving the journey.
I think next year, after the transfer window, I think that if we don't sign the players that we need, I think that's when the split will happen. Because then there's going to be the same discussion whether Ange got what he needs or whether all the signings were Ange signings, and we're going to go back to the same arguments, as we had under Conte. So I think right now, the fan base is pulling in the same direction. But I feel like next year, after the transfer window, if we slip or if we don't get players that we need, you will see a split.
Matt, if there is a division, the only real divisions I see are there are a fair few fans that are still not accepting Levy as the chairman, and there are splits on the thought of certain players being at the club. Timo Werner at the moment being the current hot topic. Do you see any other divisions outside of that?
Yeah, look, social media is a an interesting platform because it allows people to kind of express their opinions and views. Some of it might be for clickbait or whatever else. So I think you're always going to get knee-jerk reactions to a result, you know. Case in point, yesterday, Liverpool losing 3-0 at Atlanta. You know, some Liverpool fans, get rid of Klopp now. He doesn't want to be here anymore. Let's get rid of him now. So you always get those, knee-jerk people. But I think because we've been starved of success, because the style of football has changed so dramatically in the last 5 years, from Poch to Jose back to Ange, we're getting this Big Dipper ride where some people are kind of not sure where to kind of attach themselves to, because they wanted the proven winner in Jose, they wanted the proven winner in Conte. That didn't work out. So if it's not the manager, it's the owner. If it's not the owner, so who will we blaming? You know. So then we turn on ourselves. So we start turning on ourselves. So I just think, and I've said it, just hold our nerve. Just hold your nerve. You're going to get a few bloody noses. We're going to get a few Brighton results. Just hold your nerve.
I think the only division really is still on Levy, and I think it's because one, you can't be announcing to fans we're the richest club in London, then saying, right, ticket prices up. You can't be saying to fans, oh, the cost of living's gone up, so we've got to put season ticket prices up, but I'm going to take a £3 million bonus. You can't be saying to fans, we're looking for new investment. Oh, by the way, I'm building a hotel. It all just stinks of the same things, just in a different package. And I think that's where a lot of the division comes from. I do think Hoover's right, though. I think Hoover hits the nail on the head where he says, this fan base will always be divided until we win trophies. I think that's the truest statement you're going to get.
We started success.
Yeah, because if Daniel Levy took a £10 million bonus, but we've lifted the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, no one's moaning. If Daniel Levy took a £50 million bonus, but we won the league, none of us would give a shit. So I think it comes down to that. And whilst we continue to fail in that respect, I think that's where the division stems from.
Slightly, though. Sorry, Stal.
No, go for it.
I disagree with that slightly. So let me give you a hypothetical, right? If Jose would be fired a week later and we would have won a cup, right? But the direction of the club would be the same as it is right now. For me personally, that wouldn't be good enough. Just saying we won a cup, but we're not challenging. I don't think, at least for me, that shows ambition and improvement. So winning one FA Cup or Carabao Cup, but only challenging for top four, I don't think that's the ambition of the big club as we think we are, right? So I think it's more than just a trophy. In my mind, it's constantly challenging for the league and Champions League.
But how can you say that when we haven't won a trophy? Only winning a trophy will prove whether or not that brings more unity in this division. The fact we haven't won a trophy, but we have competed, we've still got division. We've competed for a Champions League. We've competed for a league. We've competed for trophies. We've got to semi-finals. How can it not be winning the trophy that's the division?
I mean, we competed for the league once, when Leicester won it. Other years, we are competing for top 4, right? And I don't think we've seen constant improvement, right? I guess that's the key. If we improve every single year, like Arsenal did, for example, right? That top 2 years, they've seen improvement. They got players. Yeah, go ahead.
Did Harry Redknapp improve us from Martin Joe?
Yeah.
Did Poch improve us from Harry Redknapp?
He did. Ultimately, he did.
So you've got 10 years of improvement there. We won nothing. That's the problem. That is why we're called bottle jobs and Spursy. This tag Spursy, I think, as well, gets underneath the skin of a lot of fans. There's a lot of fans, I see them on shows, they say, I hate that word. And then I just sit there saying, so why don't you do something about it as a fan and demand more from your club? Why do you accept mediocrity? Why do you sit here telling me, yeah, let's sign Johnny Briggs for 5 million because he's cheap, right? I hear what you're saying. I do. It's almost impossible to prove your point until we win a trophy and see the reaction. Because I remember when we won the League Cup in 2008, just to beat Chelsea in a final was worth its, it was like gold. But then, because you live in America, maybe you don't get to see it or feel it. Parade. All the fans taking over the high road. The cars driving around North London, beeping the horn, beep, 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 flags waving. That buys you so much credit in the bank from a fan perspective. Agreed. If 3-4 years later we're in a relegation fight, it's all gone. You've lost all of that, right? There's got to be some sustainability, but I think trophies will change the mood drastically. I think it gets that monkey off our back because that stick we're beaten with constantly, bottle job. Like, you must have had that WhatsApp message sent to you of an empty trophy cabinet with like lots of texts. It's stuff like that. That for me, I think, is the biggest divider.
But that's my fear, Style. I think, again, if Jose would have won that trophy, or if we win a Carabao Cup, for example, I think that would give Levy an excuse not to invest in the club, given that the fan base is just happy with the trophy, right? At least I feel like there's some pressure on Levy to invest and to improve the squad and the team. If we won a trophy, the fans are happy, but we're still not challenging.
Yeah, but
I don't think it's good enough.
Is it the pressure coming on him to invest in the team because we don't win trophies, though?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Maybe it's just an American thing, because that's what Will said a while back, right? Will said he doesn't care about the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. Exactly. He said he just wants the big prizes, because it means so much more. And I feel the same way, but I understand it's an American perspective because we don't live in UK, and I know that FA Cup is a big deal. But again, from my perspective,
it's because your sports competitions only have one trophy. There's one
right.
NBA, there's one NFL, there's one NHL. Whereas in football, you could win a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, a Premier League, a Europa Cup, a Champions League. There's like multiple trophies, maybe because the sport is structured differently. But look, Matt, this is an interesting topic. Do you think if we were to win a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, it would appease the fans? Or do you think fans would say, well, hold on, no, we want a league title or we want a European trophy now? Like, would you, because I can see Eugene's point on this. I do see it.
I think we've almost got to be careful, because the example you used of 2008, we won the now Carabao Cup in 2008 in the February. We had 2 points from 8 games in the next season, and Ramos got the sack. So Ramos was sacked by October. So from winning the League Cup in the end of February, 2 points from 8 games, he got the sack. So I'm kind of agreeing with both in a way. I'm agreeing with Eugene that you want to have a template. You want to have a formula of play, squad depth, a manager that connects everybody, engages with everybody. The players want to play for him. He's invested in the football club. By having that formula, the theory is if you're playing the right way, you're getting results, success hopefully should follow if you continue to get investment along the way. The problem is when we've had that recipe for potential success, Levy's slowed down the resources and the recruitment, which has stagnated the squad, which is what ended Pochettino's reign. So we then went back to the one-day Ramos regime, which is a Jose win now. Jose gets us to a final. He gets replaced. We then get a win now manager, which is Conte. He gets us top four and then says, right, let's open the floodgates. He gets Clement Longley and Richarlison. So we're kind of stuck in both camps. It's kind of like we've now got an attractive attacking football manager. He's now putting down his markers of what he wants his players to do. Most of the fan base like what he's trying to do. The question will be, is that sustainable? Is the recruitment going to keep up with what he's required? That's the question mark, which is why you're saying, let's wait till the summer. Because he's got a list of players that he needs to fill those positions. Will he get them?
I guess the question is wait and see. We've got to wait and see. Barry Down asks, why is the majority of this Spurs fan base convinced Werner is the way forward? Here we go. Here we go. It's Turbo Wiener time, people. All right, look. I'll tell you exactly where I'm at with it. If you don't know already, then where have you been? I put this tweet out this week. Say no to Timo. Do you know how many goals Timo scored? 2. Do you know how many big chances he's missed? 4. Do you know what his shooting accuracy is? 24%. It says he misses the target 75%. It should say 76. Did you know Timo has not scored more than 9 goals in any season for the last 4 years in a row? For me, guys, I'm simple. I don't want him at the club. I don't want him anywhere near the club. I don't care how many assists he gets. I'm of the belief if you play with an attacking three, not wingers, attacking forwards, they've got to score goals. They don't all need to get 20, 30 goals a year, but they've got to get at least double digits. And for me, Timo's not that guy. And when I look at the league table and I look at the goals scored, we're 10 off of Arsenal. The goal difference, goals for, we're 10 off. Where do those 10 come from? Well, Timo's not helping. Kulu's not helping. Brian Hill isn't helping. For me, the attacking forwards, we need more goals from them. And when I look at different systems, when I look at Salah, Mane, Firmino, the best front three I've seen play our kind of football, or we're trying to be like them, they scored 50 goals between them. Firmino was the lowest on 10. The season Man City won the treble, people say to me, oh, but Jack Grealish, he only scored 5 goals the season that they won the treble. Yeah, but they had a freak called Haaland who smashed all the goal-scoring records in Europe. Are Spurs going to go and spend £100 million to sign the next Haaland to cover the deficiencies of Werner not scoring? No, we're not. And then other fans say to me, oh, but Arsenal signed Kai Havertz. He's in double digits this season. Trossard comes off the bench. He scored 13 goals this season. So for me, it's not about assists. It's not about defensive abilities. It's not about him being a nice guy. It's not about the runs he makes. I'm just looking at it purely from the metric of, do you have goals in you? And the answer for me is no. Yes, 4 years ago, he scored goals. So let's bring back Dele Alli because he scored goals 4 years ago. In fact, let's bring back Clive Allen because 40 years ago, he scored goals as well, right? I can't go by 4 or 5 years ago. I'm looking at them now. So my position on this is I don't know why fans want him. I don't get it. I think it's madness. We need players that can score goals in the front three, double digits. That's how I'm looking at it. If we played 4-4-2 with wingers, then I'd say, hold on a minute. Maybe there's a possibility where Werner could maybe work because he does put some decent crosses into the box. But I'm looking at it from nothing but a goal-scoring perspective. And even coming off the bench, what Trossard does, Werner's not even close to that. That's what we need, in my view, if we're really going to push on. So I've said my bit, guys. I'm just one voice. Who wants to go? Go on, Charlie. You've had your hand up the whole time now. I know you're desperate to speak on it. Go on. What's your
Okay. So I get what you're saying about Werner, but let's say we got our 3 players that we really wanted, and then we get Werner on top of that. I can't see a world where that's a wrong decision. I think having Werner in the squad, he's got good football intelligence. He's got the start. He's got the run. He can make the runs. He just can't shoot the goals. And just to have him in the squad, I think it doesn't make it. He isn't deadwood. He still can play good ball, and it won't really. It's not detrimental. You know what I mean? If we have 3 players that we want to sign and then add Werner, what would be wrong with that? I feel
because
like
if one of them gets injured, he comes on the pitch and he can't score. Charlie,
but who do you have else? Then we have nobody else.
Then you buy someone. Trossard cost under 30 million. Just let that. He wasn't an expensive signing, and he's the backup. Are you telling me we can't find a player for under 30 million that can score 10, 12 goals a year? That's my I'm purely coming at it from a goal scoring perspective.
I don't know. I think under 30 million off that. I think I have no clue. I don't think Tottenham can really do it, and that's why I say Werner's a safe choice. But if we do find it, then we shouldn't buy him. But I'm saying he's a safe choice now, and if we do find somebody else, then we buy the other person. But if we can't find him, we should get Werner, because otherwise we don't have anybody else to really substitute. Because if we get a left winger, and let's say Eze gets injured, or let's say Johnson gets injured, who do we play then? Then we have to play Gil, or then we have to play Son, but then we'd have a striker. So we're basically in this whole formation that we don't have anybody else to play then, and then we have to start using subs or play people out of position. So having a Werner there could still just be good.
Charlie, as much as I hate saying this, Richarlison is better because he has scored goals this season. I would rather Richarlison comes on, and I don't like him, but he's got goals. Goals win you games.
He isn't getting left wing. Richarlison isn't getting left wing.
We don't play with wingers. We play with attacking forwards. Richarlison played in that position for Everton. And I don't like Richarlison, but I think the situation we've got here is Spurs fans are looking at Werner as a winger, but they're not understanding that we don't play with wingers. We play with attacking forwards. That's why you have a front 3.
Yeah, you're right at that.
When we had Mourinho, we had his 4-5-1 had wide players, proper wide players. With Spurs, we are very compact in that middle. We don't really look to stretch the play. You know, a lot of fans moan we never get the ball out wide. It's because we are very attacking more from a central perspective. And if you look at Werner's crosses, they're not coming from the touchline. They're coming from almost the edge of the box because they're more inverted. What do you, Matt? What do you and Eugene think? Because I don't want to overtake this conversation because I really. But when I hear assists, when I hear he makes runs, I'm like, but that's costing us goals.
Go on, Eugene.
Yeah, I think I'll get flamed for this, but I somewhat agree with Charlie. So, still, I guess the question for you is, who is Arsenal's 4th winger that comes off the bench, right? In my mind, I think that Johnson can fill the Trossard role, right? The way Ange likes to play, the low crosses from the wings, right? That's a big part of what we do. And I feel like Johnson and Werner are pretty good at that, given their pace. Now, I don't like Werner as a player, but I would keep him in the squad over Kulu any day of the week. Just, we need his pace. So
Kulu has scored more goals than Timo Werner this season.
I feel like Kulu lacks pace that we need, right, to be effective.
But we need goals, though. Goals win games, not pace.
Kulu's been there for the whole season. Werner's only been there for half a season.
Yeah,
Werner wasn't scoring any goals at Leipzig before he came to us.
Yeah, that is
in
true.
the season.
This is a different team. This is a different team.
If he's a 4th option,
they're an easier league. I can counter this all day, Charlie, honestly, because for me, goals win you games. The basic rule of football, whoever scores the most wins, right? Where are those goals coming from when you've got an attacking 3? If one of the attacking 3 can't score. Johnson, as much as I don't like him, he's got goals this season, right? I think it's 6 or 7. I would keep Johnson, Richarlison, and Kulu all over Timo Werner, all of them, because they've got goals in them, and they don't miss open goals. They don't miss one-on-ones all the time. Okay, Richarlison, maybe he's missed a few, but I'm trying to understand. Like, sell it to me. Why we should keep Werner? Like, what? Because he's got pace. So Van de Ven's got pace. Put him on the wing then. You know what I mean?
The more I'm talking with you, the more you're just basically talking in sense. It's just more. I like Werner, and I think he could do something to the team. But you've got valid points. Goals do win you games, but I think he doesn't have to. Oh, sorry, you go, Matthew. You go.
No, carry on. I'll after you, Charlie. Finish off.
He Werner this season has not had the worst stats scoring and assist wise. He's had, I think, 5 assists with counting own goals too, and 2 goals, which is in 11 games is very good. I mean, for 15 million, you'd do that any day of the week. But because it is Werner and he misses those chances, that does make it different. And I am slightly agreeing with you more about the goals. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the more I'm talking to this style, the more I'm feeling a bit. I don't know what to say about him.
Look, Charlie, if we played with wingers and their job was to be just create, okay, I could come on board with it. But we play with an attacking three, and I've given you examples. We talk about Arsenal. Their attacking three is Martinelli, Saka, and I don't know who their striker is anymore. I think that's a problem for them, if I'm honest with you. But
Havertz is playing up there at the moment.
Okay, Havertz, Jesus, whatever, But I think Jesus is a problem for Arsenal. I think if Arsenal don't win the league this year, it's because they've got Jesus as the striker. Where they've got away with it is they've got goals that have come from midfield a lot more this season. Because Martinelli has not had a good season. And he's a top player, but he hasn't had a good season. So, you're looking at the game against Bayern. Arsenal are at home. They don't have. Bayern have got no away fans. Arsenal going to that game in much better form, and they couldn't score the goals. If they had a top striker, maybe they would have. You got Ben White missing chances. That's not who you want the ball falling to. So even at that level, I think they are slightly lacking in the front three, and we've got to catch that. And I think they're lacking, if I'm honest with you. And they're the top goal scorers in the league.
No, Stel, I agree with you, right? If we sign 2 top wingers or a top winger and a top striker to play.
Forward attackers, not wingers.
Right. Attackers, yeah. 2 attackers to start. And Werner is the 4th option, right? I think he's not a great option. For the money, he's a decent 4th option. And personally, I would take him over Kulu because at least he's got the pace. And
Eugene, let me ask you this. Let me ask you. No. Let me ask you this then. So you got your 2 new wingers and Son, and we need to win the game. So you're going to make a sub. You've got Richarlison on the bench who scored 9 goals so far. For example, I don't know how many he scored. You've got Johnson on the bench who scored 6 goals. You've got Kane on the bench who scored 5 goals, and you've got Werner on 2. Who are you bringing on? And you need a goal to win this game. Who are you going to bring on?
It depends on the opponent, right? If
West Ham. West Ham United.
I'll probably be against West Ham. I'll bring Werner probably. I think it just depends on the attack, right? It's good.
Why Werner? Why would you bring on Werner?
Pace. I think he can do the low cross into the box for Johnson to get.
But Johnson's on the pitch and he's not scoring.
I mean, I feel like I'm having a hard time defending Werner because again, I don't really like him as a player.
I'm just saying, like when teams need a goal, they bring on someone that can score a goal. Fergie did it all the time. He brought on Solskjaer and Sheringham. Trossard comes on for Arsenal, gets the equaliser against Bayern Munich. Man United, they'll bring on a De Bruyne or they'll bring on an Alvarez who have got goals in them. We're bringing on a player, and our argument as a fan base is he's got pace. I'm like, yeah, but can he score? Listen, maybe I'm wrong. Listen, maybe I've got it all wrong, but I don't know. Go on, Matt. So who's right? Who's right? Is it me, Eugene, Charlie? Who's right?
So for me, in my opinion, I think he was a stopgap signing. it was almost an emergency signing. And I think it tells you everything when Leipzig allowed Timo Werner, while they were in the Champions League, they allowed Timo Werner to go out on loan. That's the first telling factor for me. If you're a club that wants to progress further in the Champions League and in your domestic league, and you've got an attacker, the fact that they allowed him to leave on loan, but put an option to purchase in the deal, for me, looks like they wanted him shot. They wanted him out the club. That's my opinion. So if Leipzig, not Bayern Munich, not Dortmund, if Leipzig are allowing, with very little fight, very little struggle, Werner to go out on loan, and Tottenham, they've got aspirations in the toughest league in Europe to challenge for honours. If we are considering signing him on a permanent basis, that's a major problem for me, a major problem. Before we get into his actual skill set, his goals, assists, XGA, all of that, why are we looking at a player to sign permanently that Leipzig are allowing to go out with a £15 million buyout? That tells you everything. Tells you everything. Their front three or their first choice forwards, do you think they'd allow them to come to Tottenham on loan in January or in the summer? Not a chance. So I think you just got, for me, just scratch a little bit beyond the surface and see, what are we getting? How have we got this player? Because he was surplus to requirements. And what we're trying to do now is to justify, yeah, he's not bad, and yeah, he's quick, or yeah, he knocks a good ball into the box. He was surplus to requirements at Leipzig. If we are Tottenham Hotspur and we are challenging for trophies and we're challenging for major honours, we should not be shopping in that store. We shouldn't be looking there. Our aspirations, our targets, our recruitment team should be looking for far more advanced, far more ready players that can not only make an impact in January to the summer, but for seasons beyond. So I'm not Anjo, or I'm not throwing any mud at Werner. He's what you call a stocking filler from now to the end of the season. If we sign him permanently in the summer, that's when I've got a problem. Because that for me just looks like lazy, weak, sloppy, cheap, Daniel Levy's name written all over it. And I'm hoping that's not the case.
If we sign Timo Werner, I'm Ange out. I've told everyone, I do not believe in the project, and none of you are going to want to come on my show ever again because you're going to hate me.
No.
By the way, Paul Pablo, Stel, were you happy with Modric at Tottenham? He was not a person who had a lot of goals in him when he played, but he contributed. Paul, Modric played as an attacking mid. I'm talking about a front three and understanding why you play with a front three, okay? I'm talking about attacking forwards. That's like saying to me, Stel, were you happy with Moussa Dembele? He used to control games and helped us win, but he didn't score goals. He didn't play in an attacking three. I'm talking purely from the perspective of how do you play in a front three if you don't score goals? The only time I've seen it work is when either the rest of the team all contributed to compensate, which I'm not seeing at Spurs, or when Man City had Haaland, who was just a freak of nature and scored a ridiculous amount of goals in once. If we had Kane and Son, maybe the argument changes, guys. Because now you're talking about two players that get, maybe 20, 25 goals each. Maybe now we're having a different conversation. But you're talking about two elite strikers. But we don't have that. We don't have it. So do you think it is one for you? Do you think Spurs are going to go and sign a striker that gets 25 goals a season next year? Because that could change the conversation.
Yeah, that was completely my. I wanted to ask a question about that too, because we're linked to only really like wingers. We're linked to centre. We're defenders. We're linked to midfielders. We're not really linked to strikers. But to say on that, Pedro Neto has 2 goals and 9 assists this season. Would you take Pedro Neto or not? Because he isn't a goal scorer. I know he gets injured a lot, but his play style, if he would be able to play 90 minutes every game, would you not take him?
We don't need.
I would take him as cover for Maddison.
Yeah, I get that because he makes the game so good. I know he's injury prone, but I mean, if scrap all the injury prone, let's just say he was playing like this. He got
I would because I would have him as cover for Maddison though. I wouldn't have him as one of our attacking 3.
So be
Saying that, see, do you know what the other problem I've got as well with this? It's difficult because you see Neto. There's players that you look at and you think, if you played in a very front foot attacking team, I wonder what you would do there. And that's the question with Neto. Would he then suddenly score a lot more goals and get more assists, or would it be what we're seeing now? He's clearly a good player, but I don't know if he suits Spurs. If I'm honest with you, I don't know. I'm stuck with this one. Matt's just like no. Why not, Matt? Why not?
The price he's missed. I did a stat a few weeks ago. In 185 games, he's missed 96. So, the guy, this isn't just this season, this guy misses a lot of football matches. So for the price, which is...
Yeah, but Charlie said forget the injuries. Like he's saying put that to one side.
That's kind of defeating the object because Neto's middle name is injuries. So it's kind of... I'm afraid, the fleas come with the dog with Neto, I'm afraid. You can't sign Neto without the injuries.
No, so that's not what I'm saying. I mean, like a player like Neto, like how he plays,
yes,
would you sign the player?
Yes.
That's what I mean.
A Neto-esque, yes. Yeah. Just not Neto.
Yeah. Because he gets too many injuries. I get that, but more like, because he doesn't score a lot of goals, but he contributes to a lot of goals. That's more what I mean. Because that's same with Werner a bit. That's why I'm kind of, they're not the same player, but I'm kind of comparing them that aspect.
Charlie, don't you get it?
No,
don't you get it?
We
want Neto, but not Neto, right? There's nothing to be confused about.
Double D's got it there. Go back up. No, keep going. What time?
Well, down or up?
Hang on a minute. 7:03.
7:03.
7:03. Goodness me.
Tony and Mbeumo.
Now you're talking. Now, if we bring him to the football club, now you're talking.
I agree.
That's a player.
Now,
would you guys want Tony?
Can we not get him for 30 million? I reckon he's worth a lot more.
I mean, Brentford charge high money, don't they? But even still, I don't know if they would, what they did with Raya, how they shafted us on Raya. I'm not sure what our record is with their owner, but he would be such a player for us. Can play right, can play left, scores goals, 23 years of age. What a player.
I look very quickly because we've still got a few more questions to get through, right? Very quickly, just go around the table. There's no only as a backup, only for £15 million. There's no ifs or buts. It's just a straight yes or no. Sign Timo or not? I'm saying no. Eugene?
Without context,
no caveats. No caveats.
No.
All right. Charlie?
No.
Matt?
No, never, ever.
Hell no. This is a hell no from Matt. Dunzel Dork, thank you for the super chat. He says, Ronnie Bagaji from Copenhagen, he would be a steal. Dunzel Dork, I haven't got a clue who that is. Does anyone know about this?
Young, talented player, but again, he's in the Bergval. A lot of potential, a lot of promise. Left-footed, plays on the right. Cannon of a strike on him, but just unproven. 18, 19 years of age, but he's going to be something special.
But guys, would you like Tony or not?
Yes.
Because of his issues off the pitch and on the pitch.
Mate, everyone's got issues. Take him.
No, but his gambling issues, his mentality issues.
Richarlison's got mental health and
no, I mean like more like his not him, but he's more like straight to the point. He doesn't care about stuff. Richarlison's got mental issues, but that's mental health. That's back in the head. He doesn't.
Has since Tony's come back from his suspension, has it affected his play?
Well, he's only scored 2 goals really in 11, but that's because he hasn't played. So yes, a bit. He has ruined his play a bit. He only scored 3 goals in 11 games.
I would take him. Eugene, Matt, would you take Tony?
I would take someone like Tony, not necessarily Tony. Go ahead, Matt.
He's on the list, so I think he wouldn't be my first choice. But we could do a lot worse. He's better than Richarlison, so he wouldn't be my first choice. But if we ended up almost like Vicario, Raya was first choice, and we ended up with Vicario. So yeah, if we ended up with him, I wouldn't be too upset.
By the way, I meant attitude problems, not mental health. I meant attitude problems. With
I don't mind a bit. I don't mind a bit of attitude on the player.
But Ange does. That's the problem. So I don't think Ange would like to play with him. That's my whole thing. Because Ange wants to play with the game, doesn't have a lot of attitude problem. Like that's why I don't think he'll fit in the system, because Ange won't play him if he's acting like a prick, and then we'll have him on the bench or not. You know what I mean? Ange wants a good relationship with his players, and if Tony gets caught doing something like going to the clubs in the weekend, I think Ange will just have a blast at him, and he'll just not play all the games that he deserves to play. You know what I mean?
Well, you've asked us what we think, right? I think you've told us what Ange thinks, so I hear your point, but I don't know. I don't know what Tony's really, really like. That's the thing. The media. I saw him do an interview with Stephen Bartlett on the Diary of a CEO, and a completely different character came across. But then is that for the cameras? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Just from a footballing perspective, I would sign him. Just from football only. Attitude, psychological. I don't know, Charlie. That's my honest answer.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Footballing, me too. But attitude, that's the only problem with him, really.
Guys, I've just started a poll in the chat because some of you have asked for it. Signed Timo Werner, yes or no? We'll give you the results at the end. Where's the next question? Oops, I've lost all the questions. What have I done? Guys, bear with me a second. I've got to reload the questions because I've managed to somehow delete it off my screen. We don't have many questions left anyway, so. Okay, here we go. The next question was, has Tottenham really improved its player recruitment strategy? How would we evaluate this? Okay, I'll be short and sweet. I'll tell you in the summer. I don't know. That's my honest answer. I will tell you in the summer, and I will be able to tell you once and for all in the summer. Matt?
Yeah, I think it's improved. Is it at the level that it should be? No. But I think we're signing players quicker, earlier. We're identifying targets quicker, earlier. And on average, we're getting them through the door early, apart from the Dragoson deal. So, yeah, there's an improvement there. My challenge will be this summer is Ange's in my opinion, his first transfer window. When he joined, it was a bit of a mess. Harry Kane leaving and going to Australia, coming back. So this is in my opinion, I'm fascinated to see. We've got Europe, whether it's Champions League or Europa League. So I'm fascinated to see. We need depth. We need options. We need versatility. We need game changers off the bench. I'm fascinated to see what we do in the summer.
Eugene, do you think our recruitment has improved? Has it changed? Is it for the better?
I think it did improve just going off of the previous summer window. I feel like if our next summer window is like the one we had this year, we'll be in decent shape. So yeah, I agree with you and with Matt. Let's see what they do in the summer. But I think compared to the previous years, I think we are doing better.
Charlie?
I think, yeah, I'd say yes and no, because some of the signings haven't been up to standard. Well, actually, they've all actually been better than average.
Hold on a minute. You can't do
What
a
am I
yes
saying?
and no. You can't do yes and no. What's that? What was that?
Guys, I wasn't thinking. Let me scrap what I just said. I think we have. Because all of our signings have been better than average, really. Except for you, what you say, Timo. But for the rest, they've all been better than average. And in recent transfer windows, that has been not the case, not the same case. So I think, to be honest, we're improving. We're not at the stage we want to be. But I think in the next window, we will see where we actually are. You know what I mean?
I love the way
We'll
when
see
you speaking.
Vicario and
You know what I mean? You remind me of Martin Joel. You know that. Martin Joel was like that. That's the Dutch in you. Yeah, go on, Eugene. Sorry.
No, I was about to say we will in the summer. We'll see if the signings of Vicario and Van der Ven were lucky, or if there is a process in place for us to identify talent.
Yeah, good shout. That's a great shout,
Really
actually.
sure.
I'm gonna use that on my next show if you don't mind. I'll say that I took it from Eugene in California.
That's okay.
Okay. So Mark Cook asks, how many players do we realistically need to push? Okay, we've kind of done this question already regarding players and signings, Mark. Then we've got the last two questions from Alex Green and Ramtel UK. It's the same question. Can we win the league next season? Can we participate in a title race next season? I guess actually, they're two different questions. One is asking, can we participate in a title charge? And the other question is, can we win the league title? Look, Leicester did it, but people will say the competition wasn't as hard. It's taken Arsenal 4 years to probably be in a title race. They were in one last year as well, but we've finished fourth, or we're on target to finish fourth in our first season of a rebuild. So someone could say, hold on, but we're ahead of the curve. Took Fergie 4 or 5 years, Liverpool 4 or 5 years. But all those clubs, they did spend big on key players like Haaland, Van Dijk, Alisson, Jack Grealish, Declan Rice. The Spurs are going to do that. So there's a lot of variables here. Eugene, do you think Spurs will challenge for the league? Do you think they can win the league next season? Realistically, plus with Europe and the other cup competitions that we'll be in.
We can challenge. We're not going to win since City is still in the league and Arsenal is going to improve. I don't think that Chelsea and Man U are going to improve much, or they'll improve, but I don't think they'll challenge. And Liverpool will fall off, I think. So I think we'll be challenging for that third or second spot, but I don't think we're going to win.
Okay. Charlie, Matt, you guys go next. I'll be back in just a minute, okay?
Okay. Go for it, Charlie.
Yeah. So I think we'll be challenging, yes. Winning, no. I think we're too early in that. The competition's too large. I think City won't fall off. Arsenal won't fall off. Liverpool maybe a bit because they'll get a new manager. But I think we could get a good third place, second place. But I think we won't win it, seeing as City isn't that big of a powerhouse and Arsenal just seems to get better each season. We'll get better too. But does that mean we stay at the same position? Because everyone's really improving except for Liverpool. Does that mean we get third, or does that mean we really win it? That's my question. I don't think we will win it because everyone's getting better every season. So who says that we'll have such an improvement? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. For me, I think challenge. We will challenge to a point, and the point is Christmas time. I think the problem with Spurs is we don't have the depth. We don't have the strength of options when multiple competitions start to happen. So January the 3rd normally is the first round of the FA Cup. That's when squads get stretched. So all of a sudden you're playing a FA Cup fixture and then you're playing a league fixture on the Saturday, 4 days break. That's when Tottenham start to struggle because we just do not have the depth. That's what cost us this season, and also a new manager, a new style of football, and players adapting in, and of course injuries. So challenge, I don't normally use the word challenge because I think as the months we get longer into the season, we'll struggle because we get exposed. We're a fragile squad. What I'm hoping is that in the summer we add and we reduce how fragile we are as a squad. So we need depth, we need options, unless we keep using the tried and tested footballers. Less Emerson Royals, more Pedro Porros to come off the bench. That's what we've got to fix.
My answer is simple. No, we won't challenge. I think once we play European football and the cups, which I don't expect us to go out of the first round again, I think reality is just going to hit everyone. And playing 2 games a week, people are going to see what it's really like. And this year's been a bit of a honeymoon. If we go and sign 7 top players, then yeah, we can challenge. We won't win it, but we can definitely challenge. I don't think we're going to go and sign 7 top players, though. I think people are underestimating how big the job is. And they're just looking at a really good first season and they're not really applying the context to it. Winning a league title and challenging is a serious deal. I think we will improve next season. I think we will improve, but I don't see a league title. And what happens if Arsenal go and sign a top striker and they go and sign another top winger and they go and sign another left back for the Zinchenko role? Then what? They're even better. What happens if Man City fix the issue of not replacing Gundogan and Mahrez? Then what? They're going to be on for another treble. What happens if Man United's new owners actually put a proper plan in place? Let's not forget the competition, guys. Let's not forget the competition.
That's what I'm saying. So, everyone's really improving. Everyone's improving every year. They're all trying to improve.
Aston Villa
improving a bit doesn't mean that we're all tied. Yeah. So I think we'll have a challenge until December again, or maybe October this time. But afterwards, we're going to be I think we're just going to be 4th the whole year. I think it's not going to be very exciting with the going up and down. I think it will just be consistently 4th place. Is that?
Yeah, no, listen, mate, I agree. I think spot on. Last thing I want to, for us to cover, there is a game tomorrow, believe it or not, people. There is a game tomorrow. It's going to be a good one from my perspective because it's the first time the boys from Tottenham away are all going to an away game together. So it is actual Tottenham away. Big art. We'll be getting the 7:30 a.m. train from King's Cross. We're putting a 3-part series together live on the train up there and back. Watch it. It'll be up there during the day. I'll be on the train editing on my phone, I guess. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I've never been to St James's Park. I love away games. The atmosphere is always a bit better, especially if you're winning. It's a different type of fan. But look, it's a big game because after this one, we have got one hell of a tough running, right? Now, currently, we are in 4th place. So we're ahead of Villa. And we've got a game in hand. Aston Villa play Arsenal this weekend. It's fair to say they will probably lose. It's not a given, but I think at least Arsenal get a point, worst case. So if Villa drop points, we need to take advantage of it. And the reason we need to take advantage of it is because if we can get a 3-point gap on Villa, plus a game in hand, it gives us a bit of breathing room with what's coming next. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. We've got a horrible set of fixtures coming up after Newcastle. I think we need to go to Newcastle and win. That's what makes it a big game. If we want top 4, if that's your thing. They've got a few injuries. They've got a fair few injuries. Their defense looks absolute dog shite, but their attack's capable. A lot of fans are predicting a high-scoring game. You'd be an idiot to predict this because Spurs could go up there and put in a performance like we did against Aston Villa, or we could easily go and turn up like we did against Fulham. You just don't know. And we haven't won away in 8 games except for Aston Villa. Otherwise, all our away games have been pretty much draws and losses. So, Matt, this isn't an easy game. It's a good atmosphere up there. They get behind their team. And Newcastle, last couple of games, have had a bit of a bounce back. They've kind of stabilised a bit, even though they've got injuries. Maybe being out of Europe now has given them a respite. What are you thinking, Matt? And who do you start, Bissouma or not? That's the big question. Does Bissouma start or not?
I wouldn't start him. I would go with Højbjerg. And I think Papa Sarr looks like he's still carrying that sore back. And also there's a whisper that obviously they'd been fasting for a period of time. So Bissouma, Sarr, they just haven't looked right the last couple of games for me. So away from home, Newcastle, I would go with Højbjerg. I don't think he will. I think I would go with Højbjerg and Bentancur to start that game and bring Bissouma and Sarr on 70 minutes, and the game hopefully opens up. There's more gaps. But I think Newcastle can blow you away. You know, if they're on, they can quickly take the game away from you. So I would just try and thicken up the midfield early on.
I just want to screenshot this one because when I have the last laugh, I need to call him out. Good old Jeff. Would you start Maddison or Lo Celso?
I like Lo Celso, but I think I'd go with Maddison again. But I like Lo Celso.
Charlie, what's your thoughts? And also, do you want Villa to beat Arsenal to stop them winning the league, or do you want Arsenal to beat Villa to stop Villa getting top four, or a draw?
I want a draw.
A draw.
Good for us, good for the others. I feel like Arsenal won't win the league. I just hope it in my heart.
Oh, they're looking good, though. They're looking good.
What we're saying, I feel like a lot of the people are getting a bit too, I'm not saying cocky, but a lot of people are saying we'll win. And every time our fan base goes like, we'll win, we lose. Like Fulham, Aston Villa's first game, West Ham first game, Man City. We all said, come on, we'll win. This will be a good game for us. Every time we do that, it seems to go completely the other way. So I'm just going to say we're going to lose. Because every time I say we lose, I said we'd lose against Luton and we won against Luton. So I think I've got a lucky charm of just being negative in this. I think we'll lose, and which basically means I think we'll win. But I'll just say I think we'll lose, and then everyone can prove me wrong in the comments later. But I just hope we'll win. But I don't think it'll be today.
Charlie, they call that reverse psychology.
Yeah, so exactly. I'm just doing that right now.
Mental. They call it mental gymnastics, or is it chess? Something like that. I don't know. I'm not very good with the slogans and the sayings. Eugene, Newcastle away. Last season, we were 5-0 down in 18 minutes. I don't think it's going to be anything like that this time, that's for sure. But look, they've got some injuries, but they've also found a bit of form. And they were 3-1 down against West Ham, who we couldn't beat, and they just turned it around to a 4-3 win with a lot of injuries, players coming off the pitch. So, what do you think? Because on the road we look a bit shaky, don't we? We're not convincing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an open game, and we seem to do well in open games, and we also seem to turn up against bigger clubs or in bigger games. So, I think we'll have the chances. Now, whether we'll convert those chances, that's a different story, right? So I feel like Newcastle is there for the taking. It's going to be an open game in which we thrive. So I'm going for a 3-2 win. Of course, if Timo misses 7 chances and we don't score, right, that could happen as well. So, but I feel like chances will be there.
If Timo misses 7 chances, I will shut down the internet tomorrow night. I guarantee you, they will. It's
going to be a great show, still.
I'll be getting phone calls from Elon Musk.
Run on the pitch, just take him off. Just go to Ange, talk to him, say, get off the pitch, get Timo off the pitch.
Probably get beaten up in the terraces, to be fair. Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting battles in this game. You know, Isak up against Romero and Van der Ven, plus is it what's his name? Is it Gallagher? what's his name? The young lad they've got.
Gordon.
I've got his name. Gordon. Yeah, interesting.
Anthony.
They've got interesting players that can cause us damage. The one thing I've noticed with Villa is they tend to push up. Not Villa, Newcastle. They tend to push up high as well, but their defenders get pulled apart. Now, if they do that with us, I mean, it's a field day.
Exactly.
But I
It's
feel like
whether
they'll
or
play
not-
different. They'll play different 100%.
Well, I'm thinking the thing with Eddie Howe is he's not the kind of manager that plays the same way every week. He is one of those managers that looks at the opposition and says, right, let's tactically set up a bit different. And if he's got a brain cell, which he has, he's a good manager. He'll look at what other teams have done to Spurs and he'll be saying, do you know what, let's just shut shop. But then the problem he's got is his best centre-backs are all injured. I mean, Sven Botman's out. Trippier's 50-50. Has he got the defence to shut shop? I don't know. This is what makes it interesting for me. I'm going to go 3-3.
Good shout. I
I'll
think
go
this game has
3-3.
so many ways that it can end. I feel like it could be a thrashing for Newcastle. We could get thrashed because we just keep getting got on the counter attacks. This is just such an open game, and I feel like Newcastle's defense isn't that great. They've got all their best defenders, but if we just don't seem to infiltrate them and just not seem to take our chances, then it doesn't matter what kind of defense they have. We'll just not win the game if we just don't seem to get our chances. Like at Villa against Luton in the first half of first game against Luton, Richardson missing all those chances. If that happens against Newcastle and they get 2 breakthroughs and score 2 goals, that could just, you know what I mean? We need to finish our chances if we want to win this game. I think that's really the most important thing.
See, if I was Eddie Howe, I would be telling Bruno Guimaraes to really, really get into the head of Maddison. Because Maddison's lucky he stayed on the pitch last week. Like that what was his name? Was it Clark? Was it Ward? I forgot.
Yates.
Where am I going with this? Clark, Ward. Yates got into the head of Maddison. Guimaraes, he he can be a right son of a. I would be looking to do that. I'll be saying
He knows all the dark arts, doesn't he?
I'll be
He's
saying to him,
very clever.
wind up Maddison, put him off his game, get him booked, cause him problems. You know, even
But then
Romero.
we do have Lo Celso on the bench, so
Yeah.
mean,
We do.
I'm not too worried about that then, because we have to give Lo Celso his chance. And let's say Maddison does get rattled, we just get him off, and we've got 45 minutes or 30 minutes for Lo Celso. So that's not a real problem, I think.
In the midfield, I'd like to see us go personally, Sarr, Bentancur, and Lo Celso. I'd like to see those 3 start. I know it's not going to happen. We're going to go Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison. I know we are. I hope I'm wrong. But what was everyone's prediction? I said 3-3. Matt, you said 3-2.
I'm going. I think Newcastle's going to beat us. I just honestly,
What?
honestly,
Positive Matt. Positive Matt is saying it.
I know.
Really?
I know.
Oh,
I know.
come on, man.
And I am Mr. Positive. I know.
Shut up.
Honestly, yeah. I think they're going to beat us.
Oh my God. Guys, remember this day, the day Matt actually predicted we lose again.
I know. I think they're going to beat us. What Charlie said earlier, it's everything is in our destiny. We win our football matches. We get equal Villa's results. We finish 4th. This is tailor-made for us to throw one in tomorrow. It's got all the hallmarks.
Okay, so you're going for a defeat. Charlie, what was your prediction? 2-1?
Yeah, 2-1 for Newcastle. But I'm just saying it's open. I don't have one prediction. I've got so many predictions, so I'm not really.
2-1. 1 minute. Did you say 2-1 to Newcastle?
Yeah, I think they'll win because everyone's saying we'll win. So then I'm doing reverse.
How am I the most positive person on the show? What's going on?
I know.
Really? It's never happened before, Stel.
Mate, I feel like I should change my prediction to a loss now just to fit in.
I hope I'm wrong.
Eugene,
I absolutely hope I'm wrong.
We'll win. I say
Eugene, what did you say?
3-2. 3-2 will win. Newcastle is just
A win.
too open. I think Sonny will score 2 and Johnson will score 1. I think 3-2.
There you have it, people. 2 losses, 2 wins. So that means it's going to... I predicted a draw. Yeah. 1 draw, 2 losses, 1 win. Okay, interesting.
You know, I'll go for a draw too, actually, because I think it's going to be a very open game. I'll switch mine to a draw. I'm not too sure about the score. I'm just going to say a draw. That's the easiest one.
Right, Charlie, if we lose now, you know it's because you messed up your little psychological kind of plan. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. Guys, listen, we've been going for 2.5 hours. Just want to say a big thank you to Eugene making his debut. Big up, Eugene. Big up to Charlie, who has made his second performance on the channel. Matt, co-host regular of the Friday preview show. We will be putting content out tomorrow across social media, our road trip, and we will be back on Sunday with the late night show because we can't do it tomorrow because by the time we get back to London on the train and then get back, it's going to be so late and like it's in early hours of the morning. It's just not going to happen. So plus I've got to be up Sunday. I've got matches and then we'll go Sunday at 9 p.m. UK time if you want to tune in. Just quickly, we'll go around and wish everyone can have their final say. I also want to say a big thank you to a couple of super chats. Elias, big up, Dunzel Dork, and also KPV, channel member for 19 months. George, I've just answered your question why it's on Sunday, not tomorrow. Yeah, Eugene, final words, bro.
Oh, again, thanks for having me. I wanted to have a go at a couple of people regarding Andrew's tactics and so forth, but we'll do it next time. Hopefully tomorrow we'll win. And yeah, that's it. Again, thanks for having me.
Absolutely welcome. I will tell you the results of the poll in just a minute. Charlie, final words.
Really enjoy being on here again. I always like have a debate. Hope we win tomorrow. I said we draw or lose, but I know it's I can't say it. Reverse psychology. So I know we're going to win just in the back of my mind, but I'm just saying that we'll lose. I love being on here. Hope I can come on again. And, we'll see how it pans out, this game.
Yeah, listen, if you guys want to come on Sunday, I'll send you the link, late night show. Should I call him Negative Matt or is that harsh? All right, I won't call you Negative Matt. If you predict a loss next week, I'll call you Negative Matt. Positive Matt, final words.
Positive, Matt. Yeah, again, just thanks for the show. Pleasure meeting Eugene and Charlie. Thanks for everybody subscribing. If you haven't, click the button. If you think you have, click it again just to make sure. Star works incredibly hard to kind of produce these type of shows. So just thank everybody for the comments. Hopefully a Spurs win. I do want a Spurs win tomorrow. And hopefully everybody stays safe and keep subscribing. Smash
the like button. Subscribe. So the results of the Timo Werner poll are... Wow. Sign Timo Werner, yes or no? We've had 81 votes since we started it, and 40% said yes, 60% said no. There's a lot of fans that would keep him. There you go. Just goes to show. We are divided again. It's what we do. We are divided. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being part of the show, everyone in the comments. We will be putting the content out tomorrow. Spurs away to Newcastle. Have a good weekend. We're out of here. Come on, the Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.